Can we mix in some non-jumpsuits here and there?
If you're comfortable doing
I don't
that.
know. I've started posting these videos every day. Now I'm like, I don't know how to stop.
What if people just send us more jumpsuits?
Yeah,
Well, that'd be cool.
that would be cool.
I got more jumpsuits.
Well, jammy January, but yeah.
It's called a one piece.
You looked like the Easter bunny the other
Jammy
day.
January.
I was the coziest boy on
You
earth.
looked so cozy.
I love
I was
Jammy
really
January. On today's Pardon My Take, super wild card weekend. We're still saying it. We're going to talk about every game, Saturday and Sunday preview. We also have an instant classic, Notre Dame, Penn State, that we're going to recap at the top of the show. We got a good friend, Dan Orlovsky, on the show to break down the matchups for the super wild card weekend. And then we have Fyre Fest to finish us off. And we're brought to you by our friends at DraftKings NFL Playoffs. Playoffs? We're talking playoffs. You bet we are, because getting on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the NFL playoffs, and the key to you scoring big is betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make your pick. Here's another reason to watch your favorite players crush it in the playoffs. New customers, bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big during the NFL playoffs at DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code TAKE. That's code TAKE for new customers. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Pardon My Take, presented by DraftKings. Score big during the NFL playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TAKE. That's code TAKE for new customers. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Today is Friday, January 10th. And wake up the echoes, PFT, because the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are in the College Football National Championship.
What's that sound, Big Cat?
It's the echoes?
Yes, it's the echoes, but also there's a second sound.
What's the sound?
It's Lou Holtz putting in his biting teeth,
licking
his lips.
And it was an instant classic.
Yep.
Like, such a great game. I thought it was going to be a snoozer. First half was neither offense really did anything. Penn State went into halftime up 10-3. Whatever Marcus Freeman did at halftime, he deserves all the credit, because that game was won in the third quarter, and how Notre Dame came out and they took it right to Penn State, took the lead. Obviously, there was, Penn State came back. They traded some drives. And the big story, as much as I would like to do the narrative that James Franklin can't win a big game, Drew Allar was horrific.
I agree, but I disagree on one point. I think the game was won in the late second quarter.
Oh.
When Angeli came in.
Steve Angeli. Angeli did get him a quick 3.
Angeli got in, and the whole vibe changed.
It's true.
Entire vibe flipped. Max got taken out by an Italian sub. People were saying.
Man. And it was, listen, that game, back and forth, Riley Leonard made a huge mistake. Penn State takes the lead, and then Drew Allar makes Drew Allar threw three interceptions today, and only one of them counted, because the other two phantom. Well, the first one actually was a real hold, but the second one was it was such a bad throw, they shouldn't have thrown a flag because it had no impact on the play.
It's a bad throw. It's a bad call, too.
Yeah, it's a bad call.
I get that he didn't turn his head around.
Yeah.
And then the fans had a little University of Texas moment.
Yeah.
You know how mad you have to be to make an Irish guy throw his beer?
Seriously.
Pretty
give up on it?
That's a bad call.
Yeah.
That's a really bad call. And so, but yeah, he came back and he had some really bad interceptions.
Really bad interceptions.
The last one was just
40 seconds left.
Why?
The one thing you can't do in that situation is make a throw like that. And he was so bad that even the last lateral of the game, he overthrew and threw out of bounds. But Drew Allar was horrific. And by the way, do we have a little do with Brandon Walker? Because I think on this show on Wednesday he said Drew Allar doesn't turn the ball over, and that's why Penn State's going to win the game. That's our college football expert. We apologize on behalf of our college football expert. He's embarrassed us one day into being our college football expert.
And he didn't show his face here to be on this show to take responsibility for that mistake either.
It's crazy.
He's ducking it. Yeah, very, very bad interception at the end. They got the ball back, and it's like, okay, you have a chance, but the one thing that you can't do is turn the ball over and try to push too hard because then they're going to be in field goal range. And that's exactly what he goes out and he does. I actually think that a big impact on this game was when Tyler Warren got taken out. You remember that on the sidelines?
Yes, from the concussion.
So they kept him out for a little bit, and he looked like he was very concussed, just from what you saw in the clip. And then he comes back on the field. He didn't look like the same guy when he came back.
Right. He didn't. And
like he told the team doctor they're trying to do the concussion test. That's a HIPAA violation.
Yeah.
They're like, good point. Get back in there, son. Go
Yeah.
play ball. And then he goes back in. He seemed like he was out of sorts around the line of scrimmage. He didn't look right. He wasn't running fast. He wasn't making heads-up plays. I think that there was that to me, when you take Tyler Warren away from Penn State, then you take away all the threat of their physical passing because their wide receivers can't catch a ball.
No, they can't catch the ball. They can't get open. I mean, yeah, Tyler Warren is so much fun to watch because he is like, if you need 3 yards, he's going to get you 7.
Yeah,
and
he's
it's after
awesome.
contact. But so Marcus Freeman was incredible. I thought he coached a great game. I thought that play at the end of the game where they had 3rd and whatever it was, 5, and the conservative thing would be to just run the ball again with Riley Leonard, and they rolled out Riley Leonard, and he hit that perfect pass to Faison, I believe, who ended up getting like 15 yards. And Riley Leonard, he wasn't great, but he made big plays at big moments. Like he made that throw. He made a couple big runs, eluded a couple big-time sacks that would have been like, very detrimental. And I don't know, like Marcus Freeman, I'm a believer. Like last game when he pants Kirby Smart, this game, how they came out of halftime, because I think we all agree, like halftime, it looked like Penn State was going to win this game easily because they were just bullying Notre Dame on both lines.
Well, it took them a second to figure out the fact that they could get their linemen shoving people over.
Right, and they were in the backfield when they were on defense, and they were just running the ball down Notre Dame's throat. And then Notre Dame came out, shot out of a cannon, we got to mention Jeremiah Love, one of the best like second effort, third effort touchdown runs.
3 dudes hanging up,
Holy
maybe even 4
shit.
or 5. That was a great run. Also, Penn State's running backs, all of them, had some great runs too. It was a really good football game.
It came down to the quarterback.
Yep.
And now it makes sense that Drew Allar is staying in school. Like I think people scratch their head. They're like, that doesn't make any sense. He would be a first round pick. He's got some things to work on.
Yeah, who said he would be a first-round pick?
I think there were people that were saying.
I've heard people say that
in this quarterback class, especially.
I've heard people say he's like consensus the best NFL prospect remaining.
Yeah, it's like a Christian Hackenberg.
Yeah, hey, second-round pick, right?
Cannon arm. So we should talk to Max. By the way, I wanted to mention Colin Cowherd. So I said this to you right before we started. He tweeted, "You see Riley Leonard, I see Josh Allen."
That sounds racist.
I was like, okay.
The only
I guess
explanation for that is that he's a virulent racist.
Yeah, the running style, I guess, but like, I don't know.
There's literally nothing about it.
I think it's bowling people over, running the football.
I guess maybe, yeah.
And maybe I guess if you gave,
but Josh is he's way more elusive.
Yeah, he is. But I think that might be the only thing. But he sees Josh Allen. So, Max.
I muted Colin Cowherd a long time ago. I actually blocked him. Fake soup guy.
Hell yes. That was a bad one.
Yeah, no. Drew Allar just can't play it like that. The defense made enough plays to keep you in that game. You get that sack when Notre Dame is driving to kick the field goal to take the lead, and that play was so long developing, and there was nothing there. Just throw the ball out of bounds. You don't need to be a hero. There's 20 seconds left. The chances of you going down and actually winning that game are so slim. Just take the sack. But that's just like a college quarterback who doesn't know what he's doing yet. Like, he's still a dumb kid.
Yeah.
Like, I felt so.
He also
DDS was unbelievable. Like that pick that he had in the third. I
think it was the fourth quarter when Riley Leonard just didn't see him. Yeah.
Notre Dame looked like they were taking control of the game. We put together a nice drive, tie it up. I don't know. I'm all over the place, but it's disappointing. But I don't know.
That last kick was kind of weird too, wasn't it?
That last kick was crazy. It was
Cheater,
going right the whole time.
Yeah.
And then right before the upright, it just came back left.
It was very, very strange.
And Mitch Jeter,
Mason Crosby type.
yeah, he's been bad this year. He was injured, but he's been nails in the playoffs. I think he's 7 for 8 now in the playoffs. And Notre Dame, listen, I don't know if they can beat Texas or Ohio State, but okay, you're shaking your head, Max. Notre Dame's just coached really well, and they've I don't know. Riley Leonard did make some mistakes tonight, but if he doesn't throw any interceptions, they're a team that can just kind of hang around. I think they're good. I mean, it's gonna be they're gonna be like 8.5 point underdogs probably to Ohio State if Ohio State.
I don't know
wins.
that they can hang around.
We'll see. We'll see. I just give a lot of credit to Notre Dame tonight. Marcus Freeman think he's coached an incredible playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
James Frank, they went up 10-0 and then took their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
They were dominating the game, and then I don't know what.
It was that first drive in the third quarter. It was the first drive to start the second half. Notre Dame just went right down the field, and it was like all the juice they needed was in that. And then they got a 3-and-out,
and then Penn State went 3-and-out.
Yeah, and it was just like this game has just flipped on its head. Whatever Marcus Freeman just decided to adjust or do at halftime, it worked because they came out a completely different team.
I think Penn State had 7 plays in the third. They went 3-and-out. Then Tyler Warren got like a 20-yard catch, and then they went, and then they were the fourth down on the next 3 plays.
Yeah, and now James Franklin. I mean, we're not doing the narrative, but should we? He can't win the big one because they. Although, is it not the big one?
I think this was a big one.
But hold on.
It's not his fault.
They went from underdogs to favorites right before kickoff.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. That's Drew Allar being on a yacht, which was a fake rumor that was put out there, we think.
We had Notre Dame flu.
Yeah, we had Notre Dame flu. We also had Penn State having diarrhea.
Yep, and then Drew Allar on a yacht.
Drew Allar on a yacht. I don't know if any of those were true, but I would say, Big Cat, it is a fact that this was a big one.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Did he win it?
No, they didn't beat anyone good this year.
It's not his fault, but it is a fact.
Yeah, I mean they didn't beat anyone on their level in terms of like
Illinois beat South Carolina. If they beat
that's
South
true.
Carolina, would you
Illinois
say
should have been in the playoffs.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
but you
that's
know,
all I got.
you know that like they didn't. I mean, they had.
But I don't blame.
This was their second big test, and their third because they played Oregon, Ohio State, and Notre Dame, and they lost all 3.
It would be nice to have wide receivers.
Penn State's wide receivers are atrocious.
In the modern era,
0 catches.
In the modern era of
It's
football,
insane.
you typically want a wide receiver to catch the ball.
0 catches. And like, I'm not going to go back and watch the film, but if you were to go back and watch the film, I don't think there were any like missed wide open wide receivers.
No.
Like every time that they did that little replay where you can look out on the field, he had nothing out there except for Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's rooting
What were
harder
you gonna
for
say?
Notre Dame
What were
right
you
now
gonna
than
say?
in IU.
No, I was just sad you're not going to watch the film.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch the film.
Why
Sorry.
not? You got to get
I
better.
don't even know how to watch film.
Hank, what are your thoughts on tonight's
Hank,
game?
do you know how to watch film?
Yeah.
Tell me how to watch a film. If I wanted to go back and watch the All-22, tell me how I would do it.
Ask Gruden.
Google
Yep.
film. PSU film.
I'll look into that.
Okay.
I'm going to Google that right now and just see.
PSU.
Hank,
film.
seriously, though, what were your thoughts on the game?
I had Penn State. They
Okay.
choked at the end. That was an absolute choke job. Like, there's no world where that shouldn't have gone to overtime.
Did you listen to our college football expert? Is that why he took Penn State?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And Jack Mack and
he's
Max.
ruining us.
Brandon Walker. That I should have known right then.
My parlay wasn't that bad.
No, I know.
Well,
If it went to overtime, all we needed was a Tyler Warren touchdown and touchdown.
Drew Allar.
If we go
Drew
to
Allar,
overtime
yeah.
and it goes to 2, 3, 4 overtimes, he's gonna get one.
Drew Allar.
So
Man.
I was mentally like in overtime already.
Oh, no, when you look up PSU football film, the first thing that comes up is Paterno, the film.
Oh no.
Have you seen that film?
I don't think
You should watch that one.
Not great.
No.
You watched it?
I actually did. Yeah.
Wait, the
Pacino.
The
that
Pacino
Pacino?
one?
Yeah.
Jeff Delo's in it.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in the opening scene. He's like in the
He
front
would
row. They use like footage from a game. It actually wasn't terrible. I'll watch anything with Pacino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so 2 other things, not college football related. Do you guys Ohio State tomorrow night? Are you betting Ohio State?
I think I'm going to take Ohio State. Yeah.
I like strictly it's going to be Ohio State, but I
And
think
over.
the Texas Notre Dame championship is more fun for vibes.
Why's that?
I don't know, just is. I never
Okay.
really liked Ohio State as a non-college football fan, but Ohio State's just never been my favorite.
This is the Scarlet.
Texas.
I think it's the gray more than anything.
It's Scarlet and the Gray.
Yeah, mostly the gray. It just
I feel like they're always really good. They're never really fun.
but this team's more fun.
Cardell was fun,
Yeah.
but it went 59-0 against Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game.
I
Yeah.
was there was it the one we were at?
No, the one we were at, Wisconsin only lost by like 7. So two other things. One is we already taped our preview. We obviously didn't know because they reported it later in the day, but the game in LA is being moved to Arizona. Obviously, we hope everyone's okay. Actually, we didn't talk about that game, so we'll talk about that game on Sunday.
Yeah, but we do hope everybody's okay.
Yeah, we do hope everyone's game. But yeah, that's I don't know. It's gonna be weird. I don't know if there's enough. I mean, there's got to be.
It's the first playoff game that has changed location since like the 1930s.
Oh shit.
There was a game. It was I forget who was playing against Boston at the time because Boston had a football team, but then they moved that game to the Polo Grounds because
Favorite stadium.
because there weren't enough tickets sold.
Polo Grounds is such a fun stadium just to look at.
Yeah.
They should have played that game in St. Louis.
Why?
Oh, they should have.
That would have rocked.
For the Rams fans, that
and-
would have rocked.
Yep.
You're right.
Good
They
point.
should have played that game in St. Louis. Fuck. That would have been cool.
But yeah, that is weird. Like, you think a bunch of people from LA are going to be able to go to that game? They're probably all just worried about their homes and figuring out what to do.
Yeah, I don't know. And there's probably a decent amount of Vikings fans down in Arizona, maybe for the winter. I don't know.
Yeah, or retirees.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So, weird setup. The other one was a stat that came from ZanB21, and we should have seen this because it should have been in the preview. But since 2017, Sean Payton is 30-12 against bald head coaches.
It's a pretty big sample size.
He's going up against Sean McDermott on Sunday. That makes me very nervous because I love the Bills in that game.
Yeah, so you read them off earlier. A number of those were Dan Quinn games.
A lot of them were taken.
A lot of them were Dan Quinn games.
Yeah.
Was there a Caldwell in there?
There was a Caldwell. So Zan B21 only showed basically everyone's like, this is bullshit. And he's like, you don't think I did my work? So he showed 2017 through 2019. There was a Caldwell. There was a Sean McDermott. There was a Todd Bowles. There was 4 Dan Quinn wins.
You also mentioned Mike Tomlin. I don't think Mike Tomlin is bald, or at least I don't think that he was bald. Like he's definitely thinning, but I don't think he was bald at the time.
He's pretty bald.
I think he shaved his head recently, but if you go back like 2 years ago,
Okay.
I think Mike Tomlin had hair.
But Mike Tomlin 2017, can you even find that? Mike
The coach's
Tomlin,
photo.
2017. Yeah, you're right. He had a little more hair there, if this is correct. So maybe Zan B21, maybe we shouldn't trust this stat.
I don't know. I like the stat though.
It's a great
I
stat.
appreciate the legwork that he did.
It's the kind of stat you need. Okay. Let's kick it to ourselves for more football talk. We're going to preview every game for Saturday, Sunday. Max, are you okay? Birds now. Birds.
Yeah, birds.
Birds. Birds.
I'm a Penn State fan, but
This isn't Eagles.
this isn't Eagles.
Connor Griffin,
I feel bad for Connor.
he's devastated.
That was one that I felt bad. I feel bad for Connor Griffin. I feel bad for my older brother.
Yeah.
That's basically how
Jeff D. Lowe.
Jeff D. Lowe.
I feel bad for Jeff D. Lowe. I feel bad for myself a little bit, but I feel more bad for them.
What's that like? Feeling
Do
bad
you feel
for
bad
yourself?
for yourself? Like you feel bad for yourself because you rooted for the same team as them is what you feel bad for. Like if it wasn't for
Hank's
Yeah.
calling you a loser.
I am a loser.
like if you weren't rooting for Penn State, then Connor Griffin and Jeff D. Lowe might have won that game.
yeah. But if I had to lose this game to
Me's
win on
laughing.
Sunday, I will take that trade.
That's
Memes-
fucked up.
Is that what the trade is though?
That's not how it works.
It could be. You don't know that.
That
If you're
true.
such a loser that your mere presence made other people lose a game, then do you think rooting for your own team is going to be better?
You can't help it.
You guys are going to win. It's okay.
I don't know what you want me to say.
Eagles.
It is
Memes,
what
you
it is.
shouldn't
Eagles by
laugh like
30.
that. Drew Allar is going to be your next quarterback.
I'm in.
No, memes just kept saying he wants Tyler Warren to be his next.
I mean, he's the next Josh Allen, according to Coward.
No, that's Riley Leonard.
Riley Leonard.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I could actually imagine Riley Leonard running a Browns offense better than DTR.
Oh, whoa. Anyone could.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah, I think Tyler Warren could run a better offense than
Absolutely.
DTR.
Yeah, that's a low bar. All right, let's kick it to ourselves for some weekend preview. Then Dan Orlovsky talking more football. Okay, let's get to our weekend preview. It's brought to you by our friends at Game Time. It is football season. It's football playoff season, and we can't wait to get out to some games with the help of Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. You know how much we love Game Time now with the brand new Game Time Picks feature. They're making it even easier to get to a game. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. We're looking at the Eagles-Packers game. What do we got, Hank?
You can get into the link for as little as $141.
Ooh, okay. The link's going to be rocking. So go hit the Game Time Picks deal for great seats. Only on Game Time. Just pull up your chosen event and turn on the GT Picks setting at the top of the screen or browse the best local Game Time Picks deal near you on your Game Time app homepage. What are you waiting for? Buy those seats, the Eagles-Packers tickets now with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app today. Use code PMT to easily score great deals with new Game Time Picks. What time is it? It's game time. We're also brought to you by our friends at Netflix. They've got an all-new show out. It's a gripping series, new limited series coming called American Primeval, starring Taylor Kitsch and Betty Gilpin. American Primeval is about one of the most beautiful, brutal, and isolated parts of America in 1857 as men and women violently clash over land, culture, religion, and community. American Primeval is a very violent story of rebellion, pain, hatred, fear, and ultimate survival as one woman fights to save her son as they try to get through the land. American Primeval is brought to you by Peter Berg, Mark L. Smith, and Eric Newman. And American Primeval is now playing only on Netflix. Okay, boys, we got some bad news. We're not allowed to call it Super Wildcard Weekend. The NFL has nerfed Super Wildcard Weekend. It is just back to Wildcard Weekend.
Fuck that. I'm going to call it Super Wildcard Weekend.
Insane.
I'm going to do it.
Do it.
Stop me. It's the biggest wildcard weekend of them all.
Do it.
How do I
say it?
It's Super Wildcard
Thank
Weekend.
you. We're not going to let them take the Super out of Wildcard Weekend.
Yeah, what is it, just the bowl now?
Listen, they take the Super out of Wildcard Weekend, the next thing is going to happen. It's going to be just the bowl.
It's a slippery slope. Freedom of speech, Roger.
Yeah. So that news, that was also brought to you by our good friend Mike Florio, which I love that he was on the beat for that. He was like, the NFL is slowly taking away the Super word in Wildcard Weekend without anyone knowing.
Wait, did they slowly take it away or have they taken it away?
All right, I'm pulling it up. Super Wildcard is no more. This is from Florio. Wildcard Weekend is no longer Super in name, at least. After noticing on Tuesday the conspicuous absence of the name that emerged when the NFL added 2 more playoff berths and created a 6-game opening round, we asked the league if Super has been sixed. Super debuted during the 2020 season playoffs when the NFL introduced a new wildcard format and the addition of a team from each conference making the playoffs, the first change since 1990. The league said via email, I just love that Florio emailed the league about this. Super was used the last 4 seasons to help differentiate from the previous 30 years of the Saturday-Sunday schedule and the further drive awareness of the 3 days of wildcard games. It served its purpose as fans have responded well. While it has been retired, there's no doubt the wildcard games will continue to be Super. This is the best story ever.
Okay.
I mean, Florio just saying, hey, where the fuck is the Super? I got to email the league.
That's a eagle eye that he had right there. He noticed.
Yes.
Mike Florio's the king of noticing shit like that. What do you think the NFL is taking it away because they're going to move the word Super to something else that they're planning on innovating?
Yeah.
And that
they
would
must
be confusing?
Be. Yeah.
Like the 18-game season? Is that going to be the Super season?
Yeah.
Because you can't have Super
the mega season.
How about Mega Wild Card Weekend?
I'm in for Mega Wild Card Weekend.
Let's get mega with it.
Do you think they're ever going to go to 8 teams? I hope not. Actually, that would be kind of fun.
When they put the team in London and they put the team in Brazil, then I think we might go to
yeah. More football, more better. Should we say real quick before we get into the games? It is Super Wild Card Weekend. We still say that on this show. Do we want to do a real quick updated? What teams do you think can win the Super Bowl this year?
Okay.
I have 5 teams. and it might look stupid.
I think
because
they all
one of
can,
them,
Big Cat.
They all can, technically. I have 5 teams, and it might look really dumb when one of those teams is not in it and the other one wins. So, but my 5 teams are the Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, I got the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions. That's 5. The Washington Commanders.
You got to.
And the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Because Micah Parsons just said that they've got the best team, and going into next season, they should be Super Bowl champions. It just didn't show on paper this season.
Just need it. No scoreboards. They're the winners. Also, an update from Dallas. Apparently, so the Cowboys blocked the interview with Mike McCarthy to the Bears, and then it was a report that Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy spent significant time together Tuesday and Wednesday.
They're getting shit done.
That's great.
It's a power meeting.
That's awesome.
Are you happy that they blocked Mike?
I am happy they blocked.
Like, thank you to Dallas.
Yes,
right?
thank you, Dallas. It's also just like kind of fucked up what they're doing, where they're putting him in limbo, and if they don't re-sign him, he might miss his window to get another job.
Yeah, I don't.
Like at this point, you have to re-sign him.
If you put Mike McCarthy in limbo, buddy, that floor is going to get broken.
Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen is they're going to re-sign him.
Yeah.
I don't think that they would deny him an opportunity to look for a job and then say, sorry, we're actually not going to re-sign you because Dion just agreed to come to town. So good
I
luck
agree.
out there, Mike.
I agree.
Have fun.
Go get him, Mike.
Speaking of Dion, I know that he's been connected to the Raiders at some points. The Raiders also reached out to Hank's good friend, Bill Belichick. Tom Brady sent out an olive branch to Bill to see if Bill would be interested in joining the Raiders. I don't know if Bill's responded. He is, I guess, busy on the recruiting trail right now. I saw a couple pictures of him meeting with recruits. So he is actually like going boots on the ground, meeting with prospects. But Hank, how would you feel if Tom Brady and Bill got back together, one last ride, but it was for the Raiders?
I'd be happy. I'd be happy to see it. It's I was saying it to you yesterday at PFT. It's like parents getting divorced. I'm grown up. It's no longer my childhood, but I would like to see them come together and bring that joy and love to another fan base. That wouldn't bother me.
That's very big of you
Yeah.
to say that.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a fucked up move for the Raiders to do this. Like, embarrassing for the Raiders to do this.
Yeah.
To have the 2 guys who were responsible for your saddest moment, your most heartbreaking moment, the Tuck rule, that you're still angry about. Now you're like, hey, can you just come fix us
Yeah.
after you broke us?
Yeah. We need your help.
Also, if you look at the Raiders coaches, they've had like 16 coaches
Yeah.
in the last 30 years.
I think it was 12 and 20. It's insane.
Yeah, so I think they're averaging 1.5 years per coach,
Yeah.
which
It's
is absolutely nuts.
not a way to do it.
No. But yeah, that would be fun. Now, I obviously be fucked for college football if Belichick was just like, yeah, you know what, I'm going back to the NFL. But as fans of storylines, which we are,
Would be
it
incredible.
would be incredible. Maybe you
Yeah.
can coach both.
Yeah. Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah, feeder system.
Okay, let's get to some games. I'm excited for these games. I'm excited. This is. I know I have a bunch of top weekends, but in sports, like Super Wild Card Weekend is very high up there, especially because we have college football playoffs too. Like this is a weekend I look forward to all year.
Yeah, when you say that, like, Feast Week is your favorite week.
It's one of.
That's a
I have
whole
like
week.
7 favorite sports
You
weeks.
got Feast
hand
Week.
up. Hand up.
Feast Week feels like the outlier. The others are Conference Championship Week.
Yep.
First weekend of March Madness.
Yep.
Second weekend of March Madness, but really first weekend. The Masters.
Kentucky Derby,
Kentucky
and
Derby
usually when there's a big fight and there's
Yeah.
the NBA and NHL playoffs.
Yeah.
Super Wild Card Weekend, Divisional Round Weekend, Conference Championship Weekend.
I'm usually more of a fan of Divisional Round Weekend, but for some reason this year, the Super really it got to me. And I'm like, it is Super.
And then just throw in a random like October weekend when the slate is just insane and it's like 5 awesome college football matchups and 5 awesome NFL matchups.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited for this weekend. The game should be awesome, and this is just it's an exciting time to be alive.
It is. All right, so first game up, Chargers at Texans. I updated my lines last night. Let me make sure they're all good. Chargers at Texans, I believe. Sorry, this is bad. Chargers at Texans. I think the Texans are 3-point. Yes, so 3-point underdogs at home. Over-under is 42.5. This is a tough game for me because the Chargers should win this game. The Texans offense is not good. It has proven to be not good all year. They are 31st in early down success rate, but the Houston defense is very good. And we also have a fun matchup. Ladd McConkey is going up against his former teammate, Kamari Lassiter. And I think Ladd has said that he is the toughest cornerback he ever played in practice at Georgia. But I'm believing in the Chargers. I'm just a little hesitant because I do think Houston's defense is that good and they can keep him in this game and muck it up.
So is it going to be against Lassiter or is it going to be against Stingley?
It depends on where he goes. I mean, if he's in the slot, it's going to be Lassiter.
Yeah, I was thinking this game is, you know what it is? It's strength for strength.
Yeah.
All around because you got good cornerbacks against Ladd, and then you've got some other wide receivers who are going to have to step up. I actually like Josh Palmer in this game a lot.
Ooh.
But then you have the two defensive ends for Houston. You've got Hunter and Will Anderson going up against Alton Slater.
Yep. Strength on strength.
The anchors, strength on strength game. And then there's just a lot of stuff, a lot of cool shit to keep your eye on in this game. The Texans, according to Sports Info Solutions, 25th in the league with a .22 EPA per play when opponents are targeting the middle of the field. But they are first in the NFL with negative .11 EPA per play when opponents target the perimeter of the field, which would seem to say it will be a tough day for Ladd to eat.
Yeah.
The Ladd's not going to eat on Sunday.
Yeah, and then
that's kind of why I like Josh Palmer.
On the reverse side, the Chargers do play a lot of too high safety, and when Stroud goes up against it, he's 8 touchdowns, 7 interception, and his passer rating is 31st in the NFL against that type of defense. We also have Jim Harbaugh knowing Nico Collins, which is the only weapon the Texans have.
Yep.
Recruited him, played for him. Here's another one I had. Houston versus top 10 DVOA defenses because the Chargers rank 9th in DVOA. Minnesota, the second DVOA defense, they lost 34-7. Baltimore, the 6th, they lost 31-2. Detroit, the 5th, they lost 26-23. And Green Bay, the 7th, they lost 24-22. So they are 0-4 against those top 10 DVOA defenses. And like I said, the Chargers are a top 10 DVOA defense. Everything we just have said is just like you should just take the under.
I was just going to say, did we become an analytics podcast?
A little bit there.
Listen
we touched
to us.
on it.
All right, how about this? Let's just get anti-analytics.
I have a dumb analytics stat for you.
Okay, yeah.
It's just looking at game logs. J.K. Dobbins, when he's hurt or he left the game against Baltimore, the Chargers are 2-3. When he's healthy, they're 9-3.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's just dumb analytics. I literally just looked at the game logs like, oh, he didn't play there, they lost.
Okay, here's my dumb analytics. Jim Harbaugh hates losing. I think he hates losing more than DeMeco Ryans hates losing.
Jim Harbaugh also claims that he remembers the day he was born.
Yeah. I remember. Wasn't this a story that we heard like over the summertime? But then Justin Herbert brought it up at a press conference. He's like, when I knew that I liked Jim was when he told me that he remembers being born.
Yeah.
He's putting his head down, hitting daylight.
Yeah.
Maybe he hit the C gap if it was sliced open. But there's a fun thing in this game that we always do every year. It's the MVP game. This is the Slime Time game on Nickelodeon. We got to give the MVP to Harbaugh if they win, right? Is that a possibility?
He would love it. He would
cherish it.
Earnestly accept that with just so much like love in his heart.
Yeah, he'd be like, this is what happens when you dedicate yourself, you put your mind to it, and you fight with a ferocity that no one's ever seen.
Yeah.
It would be good for kids.
Yeah.
It would be good for America and America's children if they could see Jim Harbaugh win the MVP.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'd probably have it presented to him by SpongeBob.
It would be incredible.
Which would be a fucking dream come true.
Harbaugh would be starstruck.
He would be like, okay, first I'm going to move my championship trophy from college football to the side, and the MVP goes right there because SpongeBob gave it to me.
So where's everyone thinking in this game? I do think the Chargers win. I'm a little nervous about 3 just because it does feel like it's going to be a low-scoring, knockdown, drag-out fight.
Yeah. There's a pattern for me this weekend, and that is there are a lot of teams that it seems like every single analyst out there is picking the Chargers.
Yeah.
That makes me think, what if the Texans just play like they played last year?
Right.
But that's stupid because we've been waiting for the Texans to do that.
That Browns game is kind of a similar spot. I think the Texans might have been underdogs in that game. I can't remember, but that was they kicked the shit out of the Browns.
And I think we thought last year this might be the last time we see the Texans in this time slot.
Right. But the Texans also, you kind of are what you are. They have not been a good offense this year. So last year they were a lot better of an offense. We should say, I mean, the fires in LA are like horrific, really, really sad. Hope everyone who's an AWL is safe and okay. I wonder if is there a human element? Because like you're living in a city if you're a Charger and it's burning down right now.
Yeah, you're wondering if your house is okay while you're gone.
Yeah. I don't know. Just something to throw in there. I just more hope that everyone's okay and anyone who listens is doing okay.
Yeah, agreed with that. I do like the Chargers though. I can't talk myself into the Texans. I will talk myself into one of these other teams, but I'm not doing it for the Texans.
Max, we got to win this game and then we can cash out our future if we want.
The cash out. That's what I was just looking at. It's not great.
It's even right now or a little less, right?
It's a little bit less.
Okay.
Right now, the Chargers are 30-1.
But this was the plan. Chargers win one playoff game.
I'm holding for the Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the Chargers. If the Chargers play the Chiefs, divisional opponent, I'm holding for the Chiefs.
They got a chance. Okay. Next game, Saturday night. Steelers at Ravens. Ravens -9.5 over under 43.5. I'm very interested to see if Zay Flowers plays. That's a big one because there's nothing that tells me the Steelers can win this game unless the Ravens have their number one receiver gone. So Zay Flowers has 24% target rate, so a quarter of the targets, and he also has a quarter of the team's total receiving yards. If he doesn't play, maybe it's a Tomlin muck it up. If he plays, where's the Steelers' offense coming from? They've looked so bad.
It's non-existent. What about this? Tomlin surprises the world, starts Justin Fields. Probably not any better.
No, probably not.
But I do think that if Zay Flowers doesn't play, then that plays obviously into the hands of the Steelers, who are very, very good against the run. Mm-hmm. But the Ravens are different against the run. Also, the Ravens' defense is, since making the change and since moving Kyle Hamilton back to more of a free safety role or playing him deep, the Ravens defense is like number one in every category.
Yeah, so we're going to talk more about it with Dan Orlovsky because he breaks it down what they changed. But since week 11 when they made the change, they have the top pass defense in the NFL. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
They were 30th weeks 1 through 10.
I think top pass defense, maybe top scoring defense since making that change.
They're just a all-around sound team, and part of me. So if I was going to make the case for the Steelers, it's Zay Flowers being out. It's Justin Tucker being a little shaky. Like this is maybe this has got to be the first time in the Ravens Justin Tucker history that the other team has the edge in kicking. Yeah. Chris Boswell has had a better year than Justin Tucker. And then the Ravens are second in the league in penalties, 132 penalties this year. And we've seen it. They've had games where they've been right there and that like little, thing will happen and it's like not fully sound, not buttoned up. So that would be my case for the Steelers, but I feel like that's not a very strong case and the Ravens are going to win.
I think that there's a path for the Steelers, though. And
give me the path. Let's close our eyes and do a visualization.
This is me talking myself into the Steelers. They play very, very hard against the Ravens.
Okay, I'm closing my eyes.
This is not a good first round matchup for the Ravens.
How cold is it? Let's set it for me.
Okay, here's
it's night game.
Night game. It is 27 degrees in Baltimore. Windy. The flag's on top of the goalpost, swirling.
Okay.
Like Acrisure Stadium.
TJ Watt, what's his hair?
TJ Watt has a fresh bully cut.
Okay.
He looks healthy.
Okay.
Justin Fields is coming in not just on 3rd and short.
Okay.
He's coming in on 2nd down sometimes.
I don't know why I still have my eyes closed.
Okay.
Lamar may be wearing a little too many undergarments.
Yeah.
Like a little too, hey, Lamar, you didn't need all those layers.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin has 2 hats on, putting a hat on a hat, 2 wool caps on. And the opening kickoff, returned by the Ravens, Mike Tomlin steps onto the field and lays that motherfucker out. It sets the tone. That's Pittsburgh football.
And that's it. What's the weather, Max?
Cold
game.
Too quick for me.
So I
also, Russie, George Pickens has to do something.
Yep. And
25 to 28 degrees.
I kind of nailed that degrees.
Yeah. It doesn't look
Well, that's
like
today.
Oh, that's today.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
give us Saturday.
41 and sunny.
Oh,
Well,
fuck.
no, wait.
It's a night game. It's a night game.
Max, you dummy. That's the
gonna be-
Oh, that's Sunday.
It's going to be
39.
31 degrees at 7:30.
Okay.
Okay, it's pretty close. Probably,
Yeah, that was
probably in dipping.
Not a lot of wind, but we can manufacture wind.
Yeah, we've seeded clouds. Just have one side of the stadium fart at the same time.
Yeah.
So there is there's some bulletin board material going around.
Okay.
Have you seen we got to get Jerry on this case actually because
Okay.
it involves cologne.
Oh,
So Lamar Jackson has his own.
will he?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's got it. Lamar Jackson has his own cologne.
Okay.
It's for men and women, so whatever that is, unisex cologne.
How does that work?
I don't know. They passed it around the locker room in Baltimore, and you can hear guys in the background talking about the cologne as it's being passed around. They're asking, "How does it smell? How does it smell?" And one guy says, "Soft. It smells soft, just like George Pickens."
Oh.
That's been going viral, and you know that George he needs something like this to lock himself back in. Now it did come out later, I should say. They weren't talking about the cologne. It was somebody in the background talking about another thing related to George Pickens. They were looking at a picture of a guy,
Okay.
and they're like, "Yeah, the profile looks kind of." They were just saying this guy looks like George Pickens,
Ah.
but it doesn't matter because the clip already went out there. So do not correct. Nobody show George Pickens the community notes on this.
Right.
If you're a Steelers fan.
Right. George Pickens might be the one guy that you would want to talk shit to because he probably is now just like, all I want to do is fight.
Yeah.
You know?
This
You
could-
can
yeah.
get him out of his game very easily.
This could be Art of War shit from Harbaugh here.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm excited for this game though. I hope it's a close game. I don't want this is the one game that I'm very nervous could be a blowout. Just because the Steelers, I think it's happened twice that a team has made the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak. Both teams lost. And so
their offense sucks.
their offense sucks.
They can't do anything.
Their defense has got a little bit better.
Their defense is pretty good.
I mean, they held the Bengals out of the end zone for 57 minutes of that game.
Yeah, so there is a path here if TJ can get a couple turnovers from Lamar,
Bully cut.
then it could happen potentially, but it's unlikely. There was also a video of I think it was on Hard Knocks of Cam Hayward and Russell Wilson after the last game. Russell going up to him on the field after the game, being like, "Okay, we just gotta win 4 in a row now. That's on us. We gotta win 4." And Cam Hayward's just like, "Yeah, just like completely."
Oh no.
Can you pull up the video? I would
no.
like to listen to this video again.
Oh no.
Yeah, Cam's just like it's like a
Russ's leadership is starting to maybe wear a little thin.
it's like a fly buzzing around a horse's eye. The horse
Yeah.
is just like, "Get the fuck away from me, dude."
And like Cam really wants to just be like, "Hey dude, how about just throw over the middle of the field?"
Yeah. We just shut down Joe Burrow.
Yeah. We held them to 19 points. Can you please just try to win this game?
Please do something. I do think that Justin might get on the field a little bit more.
It would be cool. Add an element.
Yeah.
Okay. Sunday. We have the Broncos at the Bills. Bills minus 8.5, over unders 46.5. Very funny when reporters asked Josh Allen what Joe Brady has brought to the offense this year. He said, because they were asking about him interviewing for head coaching jobs, he said nothing. Teams should stay away from him. I think I love the over in this game. I love it.
Okay.
Love it. I think that the weakness of the Bills is their defense has not been great. They've had games where they've looked good, but they just have not. Like they were that Rams game, that Lions game. I know they won the Lions game, but if you ask any Bills fan, that's the concern is their defense has not been up to snuff for the back half of the year. And Josh Allen has been playing out of his mind, and I think that he will not be stopped either. So I like the over.
I think the Bills are going to do everything they can to not let Bo Nix hit any deep shots.
Yeah.
And make Bo Nix, if you're going to score against us, you have to take your offense down the field.
Yeah.
I'm going to need 7 completions out of you on this drive, and bait him with stuff underneath.
Yeah.
That to me is the Bills' game plan. Is because Denver's going to try to run the ball. They're not that good at it, but they're going to try to do it. The Bills' rush defense is pretty good, and then if you can make Bo Nix play, if he can make one mistake, then I think the Bills are definitely going to win. If Bo Nix plays a mistake-free game, they have a shot.
And we got a shot. So this is one of there's 3 of these. QBs making their first playoff start versus QBs who have playoff experience. The QBs making their first playoff start in that situation are 34% against the spread since 2002. So not great track record. You got to think. I think one of the 3 quarterbacks that are making their first playoff start this year, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Sam Darnold, one of those 3 is going to win the game. I think the other 2 might be in trouble. I don't know how to pick those. It's kind of like a whack-a-mole. Which one's going to show up in the other 2? But like statistically speaking, a guy making his first playoff start versus a guy who's played in the playoffs before, it's a disadvantage for the guy making his first playoff
It's
start.
also a disadvantage to be playing against Josh Allen and the
Correct.
Buffalo Bills
Correct.
in Buffalo.
Correct. All true.
As good as they are right now.
All true. All true.
Yeah, I love Buffalo. Is Von Miller maybe a revenge game here?
Ooh.
He said it's a full circle moment. I don't know what that means. Full circle. What is that? What is that button on PlayStation?
He went full circle.
Spin move?
Spin move.
Spin move. So look for Von Miller's spin move. That's what he means.
How's this a full circle moment?
Von Miller?
Yeah, he's just
It's not like they beat
It's
the
just full
Bills to
circle?
go in the playoffs when they won.
he's just playing the Broncos.
He's playing against the Broncos.
Yeah, I know, but
Full circle.
wouldn't full circle be if the Bills were playing against Texas A&M?
Like if the Broncos beat the Bills, in their original run,
Yeah, right. Then it would be
then
full
it'd be
circle.
full circle. But
Full circle moment is just playing it against a team that you used to play on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Full
Not
circle
co-
moment.
I don't think it's full circle.
I don't know. I don't know what shape it is.
I like the Bills.
I like the Bills as well.
I mean, we know what they didn't.
All right. Packers at Eagles. Eagles minus 4.5. Over under 44.5. Max, do we have any reports? At the time of this taping. We're taping this at 10:45.
By the time that you listen, Jalen Hurts will be out of concussion protocol.
Let's go.
But wait,
Let's
Max,
go.
Max, you told me several times this week that when he woke up on Thursday morning, he'd be out of concussion protocol.
He is. They just haven't reported it yet.
He's awake right now.
He doesn't have symptoms.
How do you know?
I know.
You don't know.
Me and my guy, I know.
You don't know.
He doesn't have symptoms. He's good to go.
You said when he opens his eyes on Thursday, he's going to be out.
Correct, because all he needs to do is wake up without symptoms, and I know that he woke up without symptoms. They just haven't reported to the media that they woke up. Nick Sirianni's trying to keep everyone guessing. All right, why would he give up information earlier than he has to give out information?
I think he does have to give out information today, though.
Today, yeah.
Yeah.
So by the time that the listeners are listening to this, he will be out of protocol.
I actually agree with you. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine too. And I like the Eagles in this game. Here's the problem. Here's the thing, Max, that we can't have happen. The Eagles cannot start slow. The Eagles are...
They always start slow.
I know. They're 21st, but especially in this game, they're 21st in first quarter scoring, and the Packers are 4th in first quarter scoring. That's not good. You don't want to be down and have the Packers be able to lean on Josh Jacobs and have them be able to control this game. And there is a little... Here's my biggest concern. Jordan Love is not... I mean, I think last year he was ascending at the end. This year the Packers are probably a better team overall, but they weren't playing better towards the end of the season. Like last year they were playing well towards the end of the season. That game against the Cowboys was crazy. He played perfect football game. That was his first playoff start. I'm worried that that guy's going to show up.
They're the only 7 seed to win a playoff game.
Yeah.
The other 7 seeds are 1-7 all time. So that team is the only one that's done it before.
So
that's what I've been saying all week. What's your biggest worry? It's nothing really about what I've seen on the field the past couple of weeks. It's really just the vibe of the Green Bay Packers as a 7 seed coming off of last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Eagles are better than the Packers in almost every category of the game, but it's still the Green Bay Packers. They still have a really good coach, and they've done it before.
Yeah.
And they know, and they're not scared.
Right.
That's what I'm scared of.
Yeah.
Is that we're not playing a 7 seed that is scared of the big guns.
Yeah.
So let's do a guy off real quick. Is there anybody at the same position on the Packers who's better than on the Eagles? Quarterback.
I would take Jalen Hurts.
Running back.
I would take Saquon Barkley.
Left and right tackles.
I would take our guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, no, you guys
kicker.
have a better kicker.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you guys have a better wide receivers.
Better cornerbacks.
yeah,
What about coach?
great, best winning percentage in the NFL.
You didn't answer the question.
No, I
though.
didn't.
No, not coach.
I also think Vic Fangio is going to have a little bit. I mean, I think he already has an edge because Christian Watson being out is a big deal. Like I know that he's, Packers fans are like, well, he has stones for hands, But he's a field stretcher. He is the guy who can get open deep, and you have to worry about his speed at all times. That definitely changes the dynamic of what the Packers can do and what the Eagles can do in terms of defending the Packers.
And even if you go back to that Week 1 game, the Eagles still won that game. Jair Alexander was playing in that game.
Mm-hmm.
A.J. Brown torched him, but then Jaden Reed torched Avonte Maddox, but Avonte Maddox is no longer our nickel corner. Cooper DeJean is now our nickel corner, who's been one of the best in the league since he's come in. So the Eagles won that game, and they're in a better spot now than they were Week 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, everything points that the Eagles should take care of business, but it's the Green Bay Packers, and they beat the shit out of the Cowboys in Week 1 last year. It's the only thing I'm scared of.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, not afraid.
No, what?
You're not afraid at all.
I just explained to you why I'm afraid.
But you're not afraid.
I mean, I'm confident, but there's still worry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go in here and say we're on to Week 2 or we're on to divisional round.
Super divisional round?
Yeah, we're on to the super divisional round.
I'm going to give Sirianni a compliment. That was a good decision that he made last week.
Yeah.
Got your guys a little mini bye.
Yeah.
He created his own bye. Yeah.
Had to.
Because if you're not going to get the 1 seed, you need that small little break for yourselves to get a little bit more fresh for Super Wild Card.
Assuming Jalen Hurts is healthy, Week 1, all 11 starters on offense and defense will be playing in this game for the Eagles.
Okay.
Yep.
And I just hope because that's the slow start and the fact that he's missed, 2 weeks now? 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
2.5.
Just got to find a way to start fast.
I'm worried about the start.
Have to find a way to scheme something up and get in a rhythm early, because that's where I'm going to start getting nervous. If the Eagles come out and they're like 3 and out and the Packers go down the field, and now you're playing a different game, because the Eagles are an incredible team to play from ahead. We saw it in that Steelers game when they had the fucking, whatever it was, 13-minute drive down the field to end the game.
Counterpoint, though, they've been playing from behind all year.
True.
So even if they do start off playing from behind, they can.
It's just playing from behind in the playoffs is definitely a different feeling.
It's different in the playoffs. It's different in the playoffs. But if the Eagles have found a way this year to start to play from behind in every game and still win by 2 scores in almost every game.
Yeah,
Right.
I think with the Packers, that would be the one way that you could go about it, though, if you could just start handing the ball to Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
We started behind in that game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Did you guys see that you added another Georgia Bulldog? I think there's 11 total playing in this game.
Who is it?
Athens North.
Louis Seen, the former first-round pick who was cut by the Vikings. I think he was on the Bills practice squad, and he got added to the Eagles active roster. So it's a significant amount of Georgia Bulldogs.
I love that.
Let's go win a football game, Max. Let's go win a football game.
Max, can you give me a quick breakdown of the Howard Eskin stuff?
Oh shit, that was my fuck.
Whoa.
So
He gave me a homework assignment.
I gave him a homework
that I failed.
I saw a headline and it said
My dog
Howard
ate my
Eskin, like the reporter in Philly, got banned from the facility and then gave himself his own press credential.
Oh.
And tried to sneak in like he was still on the job.
That's the horny guy who posted the picture of his daughter, I think.
But there's some other horny stuff in here too.
Yeah, I think horniness is to be. I have not done my homework. Hand up, professor. I did not do my homework.
All right, so we need it for Sunday night show.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Correct.
sounds like you're not going to do it then either.
Yeah, it sounds like
I have to put it.
How about this? How about by the end of class?
I can get it by the end of class for
Okay,
sure.
by the end of class.
Okay.
Have it on my desk.
Okay. Yeah, I like the Packers. I mean, sorry, I like the Eagles. I think the
Packer
Eagles are
Dan.
going to win.
There
Yeah,
might
Packer
be
Dan.
something to that.
I already bet the Eagles.
That was a Freudian slip
it
right
was.
there, Max.
I like the Eagles. They're going to win this game. Just don't start slow.
I'm not promising they're not going to start slow, but you're more worried about starting slow than I am.
Okay.
I would like very
That's
much
fair.
for the Packers to win this game. Very much.
I would like very much for the Commanders to lose their game as well.
I'm aware.
Oh.
I'm aware.
Nice. All right, let's talk about that game. Commanders at Bucs. Bucs -3, over under 50.5. What are we thinking, PFT? How we feeling?
I told you I had a path, right?
Yeah.
I told you I had this whole thing figured out from doing a deep dive into the All-22. I think Jaden is going to run the fuck out of the football, and I think Austin Eckler is going to run the fuck out of the football. I think that Todd Bowles is going to, if he tries to blitz Jaden the way that he did in week 1, it's not going to end up well for him because Jaden will take off on him. He's a different quarterback. Fun fact, no team has ever beaten Jaden Daniels twice in the same year.
Ooh,
ever.
That is a fun fact.
Right? I think it's just 3 teams this year
Wait,
that had the opportunity to do it.
he didn't play in an SEC championship
He
game, right?
did not play. No,
Okay,
when they
good.
lost, it was Alabama and Georgia.
Okay.
And
okay.
yeah. So no team's ever beaten him twice in the same year,
That's awesome.
which is pretty good. Dan Quinn has never gone 1 and done in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think he's 2-0 in that. The Bucs were 0-4 in primetime this year as well. This is a Sunday night game,
Okay.
so they haven't won a primetime game.
That
yet.
Cowboys game was bad.
It was very bad. Now, counterpoint, if you're a Bucs fan listening to this, you can say, hey, we beat you when you were the Redskins in the playoffs. We beat you when you were the football team in the playoffs. And now we're going to be the only team to have beaten you when you're all 3 of those in
Okay.
the playoffs. We haven't won a playoff game since 2006, which was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Okay.
and Chris Sims.
Okay.
But I think the way that Todd Bowles is going to attack this is going to be start off blitzing, get damaged a little bit by Jaden's legs, and then he's going to drop back more into more of like a rush 4, take his foot off the gas a little bit blitzing, and then expect Jaden to be looking like he was in week 1 passing the ball. But Jaden is a lot better. Now, there's a different Jaden Daniels than
Yeah.
we saw in week 1.
Yeah.
So I think there's a path to it. Now, the downside to all this is that our defense is still not very good. Our defense is, I would say, medium bad, which is
Medium bad's not good.
which is also, it's not good, but it's also a significant upgrade on what the Bucs saw in week 1.
True.
When we were bad.
True.
Maybe worse than the league bad.
True.
And I think I said after that, if our defense can just get medium, then we'll be a decent team. Our defense is like medium bad,
Yep.
with an opportunity to escalate to medium.
Yep.
I think there's going to be a lot of points either way.
I do too.
I think that it's going to be a shootout, but
Which would be awesome.
weird stuff happens with the Commanders at the end of games. We've won a lot of games, some against bad teams that we shouldn't have won, but for some reason, Jaden at the end just figures shit out.
Yes.
He's a big figure shit out guy, and he doesn't get too excited. He doesn't get too emotional, besides happy.
Yeah.
So I like our chances. I think that we have a very good chance of beating the Bucs.
Yeah. I do too. I think this would be a great game. I think the Bucs are not like the Bucs defense has not looked great. They also have a lot of injuries. And I don't know. I think it actually helps that Jaden Daniels has played them before. Like you said, like it's like, you know, the unfamiliarity of playoffs, a lot of pressure. It's like, but we've been to Tampa. We've played them. That was the first game of the season. I would be a little worried about the run game for the Bucs. I feel like Bucky's going to have a huge day.
Yep.
Probably going to ladder his overs.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
We're going to have a very hard time stopping Bucky Irving and Rashad White. Mike Evans, I don't know what to expect. I like Lattimore's chances more than I would like Benjamin St. Juste's chances
Yes.
against Lattimore or against Mike Evans. So, yeah, if you look at Todd Bowles, he's got like 2 ways of playing defense. He will blitz quarterbacks that he does not respect, and then he will take away the deep ball against quarterbacks that he does. That's what he did to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Where he just stopped blitzing entirely.
Right.
So I think he's going to try to blitz and then realize this isn't working, and then Jaden's going to have his way.
Okay. I think you guys are going to be in this game. I'm rooting for you to get a playoff win. I've told you, I've been honest. If you won a Super Bowl this year, I'd be like, that's fucking bullshit. I would like you to win this game, especially because it's against Stephen Shea.
Yes.
And that would be very nice for you to win against Stephen Shea. I will probably do a friendship bet on the Commanders and ride with you because I want you to just rub it in his face.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so the path becomes, here's what I'm also worried about. If we do somehow happen to win this game, I'm going to, the next week, I'm going to treat like we just won the Super Bowl.
Oh, you have to.
Because in all likelihood, we're then going to have to play against the Lions.
Right.
In which case, I think the Lions are going to score 70 points if they play the Commanders.
That would not be a great matchup for you.
It would be a terrible matchup for us, which is why I'm rooting so hard for the Packers.
Yes.
But yeah, this is going to be fun. We're in the playoffs.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm above the moon. The fact that I get
above the moon.
Above the moon that I get a playoff game.
Above the moon.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. That's it. We'll do the Monday night game on Sunday.
Yep. Hank, by the way, we had 12 wins this season. You bet us to not make the playoffs. 12 wins.
12 wins is a lot of wins, hey.
Yeah, it was a bad bet. You guys, good team. I have the Super Bowl future. I'm hoping for this path to come through.
Wait, you said on Monday that we were not a good team.
No, it's actually Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday, he turned to me during the game. He said the Commanders are not a good team.
Yeah. You just said you're a good team.
Well, you made the playoffs. You got 12 wins. You're not, I don't know.
Well, we made the playoffs the week before that. We beat the Falcons.
Listen, I'm rooting for the Commanders. I don't think they're like that good of a team, but the numbers state otherwise. The wins state otherwise. You guys made the playoffs. Like I'm just a hater. I'm definitely hating.
Yeah.
And you guys basically lost to the Bears. You basically lost to the Saints. Like you barely beat the Cowboys.
This sounds like a loser.
Those are bad teams. You have to fight to beat bad teams.
Basically loser. I
In
don't care about
theory,
basically
you guys
losing.
are going to get smoked in the playoffs. But
Almost lost to Kenny Pickett.
Hank, you basically dunked.
Yeah, exactly. I actually did basically dunk. It was pretty close.
No.
I mean, it was pretty close.
At no point.
I have no problem admitting that I was wrong, and for the sake of this podcast, I want Commanders Eagles, and the best case scenario out of that, I guess I have the Eagles future, but I want the Eagles to make a run for the sake of the show. I don't care if that makes me look wrong. Do I think it's going to happen if you gave me, true serum? No. Mm-hmm. But at this point, I'll take my licks and say I was wrong, and somehow hope the Commanders, make a run.
No, that's fine. Well, the reality is the NFL was very bad this year. There were a lot of bad teams. And we beat a lot of bad teams, and we beat a lot of bad teams by
And you barely beat a lot of bad teams.
A narrow margin. But we also narrowly lost to several good teams.
You are what your record says you are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
12-win team.
12-5. I'll take the number 12 next to the win column. Looks pretty good.
I did put in a future on DraftKings Sportsbook. Ohio State to win the national championship, parlayed with the Eagles. I think it's 13-1. Eagles Super Bowl.
All right.
So I'm with Maxie.
Me too, and I'm just
I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. I've said it for months now. That's a fact.
I think the Eagles are walking on a minefield to get to the Super Bowl.
Why?
There's just a lot of good teams in the NFC.
I think the AFC is the AFC
Packers is tough. The Lions are tough. The Vikings are tough. The Rams,
It's not going to say Commanders.
no.
That's fine. you said the Packers, too.
He just named
Every team.
He just named
Every Commanders and Bucs, not tough.
Yeah, he named 4, 5, 6.
Am I wrong?
4, 5,
though?
7.
Am I wrong?
No, listen,
Skip 6.
Hank's not wrong. I think that
All those teams have a better chance against.
I think. All right. So
in my dream matchup, I had the Buccaneers. In the Buccaneers' dream matchup, they had the Commanders.
here's what I was saying in PFT's defense, and I because he's not trying to be cocky about it, but I think what the Commanders are is they're not a finished product. They're not a great team, but the way Jaden Daniels has played this year gives you a chance in any game.
Any game.
That's really what it comes down to. Is you got a guy that is so dynamic that if he is hitting his long balls, if he's running, when he needs to run, he's a matchup problem.
I would say even if he doesn't hit the long balls and he's running well and hitting, Zach Ertz and Zacchaeus and some of the other receivers on like intermediate stuff, he's still going to keep you in games.
Right.
And if he hits the long balls, that's when we win. That's if he's connecting on long balls and running well at the same time, I think we win the game, no doubt about it. Yeah. But anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Anything can
Tampa
happen.
Bay is 0-4 in primetime.
Memes, you got anything on the playoffs?
I'm all in on Steve Spagnuolo right now.
Oh,
Okay, I thought
second chance.
you guys are interviewing a ton of Italians.
So many Italians.
Yeah, I
Lead
like
the
that.
league in Italians.
Do you think the Rizzler is in on any of these interviews?
I saw somebody say we interviewed Mike Francesa for the GM job.
Oh,
Eagles definitely lead the league in Italians, by the way.
Yeah, but the Jets are
They're trying
it's a
to get
copycat
more.
league.
They are. They have
Yeah.
been trying to copycat league the Eagles for a while now,
Yeah,
just because they got Joe Douglas.
Should we have an Italian off?
we might have to. Might have to an Italian off.
I mean, Big Dom counts as like 10
Yeah, he
Italians.
does.
That's true.
He's the Don.
He's the starting 5 for Italians.
We have Eagles. There's just Eagles hats that have the Italian flag on the side of it for the whole coaching staff.
That is true.
must be Italian to coach.
My
the
brother,
Eagles.
Like that is your terrible tell. Is the
my
Italian
brother has
flag.
asked me so many times. He's like, "Can you get me that Eagles Italian hag flag? Because you can't buy it. Only the coaches get it."
You got to get it for him.
Yeah.
You got to get it for
Memes,
him.
are you rooting for Max?
No, you're rooting for Payne.
Yeah.
Yeah, be honest. What are you rooting
I don't want
for?
anybody to win. I want everybody to lose.
But
But-
if you're rooting for maximum for the podcast listeners, we need to spread out the losses. Like if you guys both lost this weekend, it would kind of suck.
Yeah.
You know?
Eagles are going to lose in the Super Bowl in horrific. Or no, they'll probably lose in the NFC Championship in horrific fashion.
Okay. No confidence.
Yeah,
Loser
that's loser.
Loser talk.
You say that, and then you just don't look at me.
Loser
Look at me.
talk.
Look
Loser.
at me.
Speak like a winner.
I'm the captain now.
I
into
am
existence.
a loser. In what way you're like, oh, this is shocking. Max is acting like a loser.
Max, you're acting like a loser right now.
Yeah, I am a loser.
Do you want to win?
Did you beat Hank in
course
the
I
Super
So
Bowl?
then act like a winner.
Not on this show.
Yeah, this is bad. You're setting a bad tone.
All right, let's. We have a same game parlay for the people. We actually have two of them. So DraftKings this weekend with NFL teams playing to see who's the king of the gridiron. Get in on the playoff action. See who's the king of the end zone at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL playoffs. DraftKings has been the number one place to bet touchdowns all season long, and the NFL playoffs aren't keeping them out of the end zone. They're going all in with $2 million in bonus bets up for grabs every game day during the NFL playoffs. Here's how it works. Place a $5 pregame bet on an offensive player into find the end zone, and if they have the longest rushing or receiving TD that day, they're king of the end zone, and you win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. DraftKings Sportsbook is crowning a king of the end zone every NFL game day. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code TAKE. That's code TAKE to compete for a share of $2 million in bonus bets only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Okay, what is your guys' pick? Well, let's do ours first because it's the first game. Max and I are doing the Packers-Eagles game, and we have a plus 575 parlay for the people. It's Eagles money line, Devontae Smith 70 yards receiving, and Devontae Smith touchdown, and Saquon Barkley 80 plus yards rushing.
Okay, what's
Like
that pay
it?
out?
It pays 575.
Okay, Hank and I teamed up on this one. Hank's a winner, Max is a loser, so teamed up with Hank. We got Terry McLaurin, anytime touchdown. Terry McLaurin, 60-plus receiving yards. Jaden Daniels, 40-plus rushing yards. And Baker Mayfield, over 18.5 rushing yards.
Double
What's that
dipping with
pay?
Terry.
Double dipping with Terry and quarterbacks. I might just bet on every quarterback's over for rushing yards in the playoffs because they start to run more.
Yes.
So all that parlayed together is plus 750. Seems like a winner.
I like that.
All Terry does is catch touchdowns.
Bet for bet. I'm going to bet your parlay. You bet mine.
Done.
So go to DraftKings Sportsbook. They got everything this weekend's great weekend of football. Okay, let's talk some more football. We got our good friend Dan Orlovsky on the show breaking down the super wild card weekend matchups. PFT, you got a couple ads before we do that.
Before we get to Danny's, brought to you by Uber Eats. Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply. See the app for details. Dan is also brought to you by Campbell's. It's soup season. Get involved with Campbell's Chunky Soup. Today's episode, Part of My Take, is brought to you by Campbell's Chunky Soup, the soup that eats like a meal. When you think chunky, you think players like Will Anderson Jr., you think of players like Montez Sweat, Sam Hubbard, Jason Kelsey, Dexter Lawrence, all soup guys, all Campbell's Chunky Soup guys. Keeps them going strong. And this winter, fuel up with Campbell's Chunky Soup. But even players like Will Anderson can't compare to my go-to. It's the spicy Nashville-style hot chicken. I love Nashville hot chicken. You guys like Nashville hot chicken?
Love it.
It is the best. And now it's in soup form. It's packed with great ingredients, keeps you going strong. Chunky takes satisfaction to the max this soup season. Grab a can of Campbell's Chunky today. And now, here is Dan Orlovsky.
Okay, we now welcome on our good friend, Dan Orlovsky. You can see him on ESPN. He's calling games now, doing a great job calling games. He was calling that Ravens-Browns game the other night. It is playoff time, though. We want to talk to Dan about some playoffs. We want to break down these games. Dan, I'm excited. Which matchup has you the most excited out of the 6 this weekend? Because I figured I'll follow your lead and we'll start there.
Yeah, I really do think it's Buffalo-Denver because, one, I think it's the game that most makes me feel like a real upset could actually happen. I don't think that the Vikings beating the Rams would be like a quote unquote upset. And I think that, for Buffalo and Denver, obviously Josh has had an outstanding season. And so it's elevated the expectations, and he falls into that category like, hey, you got to win a Super Bowl, man. Like, you can only get so many opportunities this quickly in your career till we start to have the worry of like, are you ever going to get there and or win one? I also think that it's a really favorable matchup or interesting matchup for the underdog for Denver. I think Denver's got a guy that could be the defensive player of the year in Surtain, and he's as close to a thing to Darrelle Revis that I've seen when it comes to, hey, you go by yourself and shut down the field. And, without getting too deep into the weeds of like the X's and O's, like schematically, that's a huge part of this game because Buffalo gets into some unique formations where they try to kind of overload one side of the field, and Surtain takes that away. And then Sean Payton. I remember Sean Payton went up there last year with Russell Wilson and beat him. And he's so such a good coach, and he understands how to attack these defenses and get them into certain situations that are favorable to them. And so it would be a massive upset, but I honestly don't think I would be surprised, yes, but I wouldn't walk away going, oh my gosh, I did not foresee this at all.
So
Wow.
if that does happen, we're big roadmap guys. Give us the roadmap of how it happens. How can the Broncos outscore the Bills?
Yeah, I think number one, it starts defensively for Denver. I just talked about Surtain. So like what Buffalo does, and every team in the playoffs does this, is they get into these 4-by-1 formations. So they take one person and put them on one side of the formation, and they take 4 guys and put them on the other side. And it's very simple. Like the quarterback, he says, if I like the one-on-one matchup, great, I'm going to throw that. If not, I'm going to throw something to the field that's easy. It's like a little flat route, an RPO, and we have numbers advantages because defenses are usually trying to be like symmetrical. You don't want to vacate one side of the field. Well, Surtain can go there by himself. So you Buffalo don't have the numbers advantage to that 4-person side. And so that might stunt their offense a little bit. And then I think the second thing is Denver led the NFL in sacks. And they got dudes who are unbelievably big and talented. Jonathan Cooper is fantastic. Zach Allen on the inside, and Benito's the one for me because when you're playing against Buffalo and you're playing man coverage, which Denver loves to do, Josh is going to be a runner. Benito's big enough. He's fast enough. He's athletic enough. He's physical enough to that's what he's done with Patrick. He's a little bit of a spy. So I think defensively they match up well against Buffalo. And then, if you were going to ask me how to attack Buffalo, you're trying to get Buffalo into where Taron Johnson, who's an unbelievable nickel, has to defend the run. He plays every play. So, like, you can get 320-pound offensive linemen blocking him if you formation the right way, and Sean Payton absolutely will. And I just think that's beneficial for Denver to kind of control the game, run the ball. They are heavy RPOs, and they've been hurt a little bit by quarterback run. Bo Nix really athletic. So, I that's the way I see it. They'll get into beefy dudes on the field and run the football.
So the only question I have in this, we could maybe use this to jump to the Jaden Daniels Commanders Bucs game is obviously rookie quarterback, first playoff start, especially on the road, not the best record overall. What is that? Is that just simply like this is just a different level of football that they are not? You can't prepare yourself. There's just no way you could have a great, fantastic rookie year like Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels did, and then you get into that playoff environment and it's just a totally different ball game.
That, yes, and also the playoffs become so game plan specific. The regular season is so week to week to week to week, and you only get. You have all this evidence now, and you become so game plan specific because it's win or go home. And so you're a little bit less kind of like, this is what we do. And you're a little bit more of, we're going to take away what you want to do. And that's the focus point. And it has all your attention. And, guys are just more hyper focused in the playoffs because you know that it's win or go home. And so I think that's a big part of it as well, is a lot of teams that go in with rookie quarterbacks, it's not, they don't have the plethora of a wide open playbook more often than not. There's things that they do well and they live in them because that allows the quarterbacks to not play poorly and kind of to play to a quote unquote strength. And defenses just become so much more focused on, all right, they really love to do these 3 things in this formation or these 2 things in this formation. So we're going to take that away and then force them to kind of play to that C game or D game. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
So one dude that I feel like America should know more, or at least discuss more on the Broncos, is Quinn Miners. Because that guy is a beast, and he just looks like a dude. You talk about like getting your beefy boys going.
Yep.
I feel like that is he the leader of that offense? I mean, obviously Bo Nix, a lot's been put on his shoulders as a rookie, but I feel like they get some of their attitude from that strength on the inside.
There's no question, him and Bowles. Garrett Bowles has become a high-end left tackle. The Quinn Miners versus Ed Oliver matchup is going to be awesome to watch. Because those 2 dudes are outstanding. When they play their best, their units usually play their best. That's the thing. We fall in love with the pass game, and Bo Nix and Sutton have been really good. I don't want to sit here and pretend that Denver's Philadelphia running the football, but Sean Payton wants to run the football. And then what happens is like you just become obsessed with stopping the run, and they'll get a perimeter screen that go 50 for a touchdown. But Miners, he's a stud. He's a monster at guard.
Yeah, Miners versus Oliver, that's like the most country matchup that you could possibly get, except like one is the country of Canada, basically.
Dan, you called that Ravens game last week.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something on the broadcast, and I think that people who have been watching the Ravens all year have seen it as well. But they have adjusted their defense, their secondary specifically, and been playing really good ball down the stretch. What has happened, and do you think that is what was needed to, like, they're now a very bona fide, like, they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're one of the best top 2, top 3 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton saved their season. So there's the butterfly effect to it. So they were really bad on defense because the secondary was just blown coverages, missed assignments, poor communication, ball going over their head. And so their best player on defense was closer to the line of scrimmage. They had Kyle down near the line of scrimmage, a little bit like what the Rams have done in the past with like a Jalen Ramsey and whatnot, which makes sense. The Chargers do it with Derwin. But what they did was they say, okay, the worst part of our defense is the secondary. Let's take our best player and move him back there. So once they move Kyle back to the secondary, 2 things happen. One, he communicates at such a high level. He gets everybody in the right positions. And we often say that and don't think it's meaningful. It's enormous because in an era in football, offensively, where teams are constantly changing with shifts and motions, those guys' rules change. It's not like the defense goes, hey, cover 2, ready, break, and it just stays that way no matter what. And so everybody's kind of rules change once offensive shifts. And so Kyle goes back there and he is the quarterback of the defense. He gets everybody in the right places and everybody on the same page. And then what happens is Roquan Smith, their linebacker, no longer has to bear that responsibility. So then his focus is solely on the front 7 and the backers in the rush and getting those guys, because their rules change as well. So like getting those guys into the right alignment and right set. So that's the trickle-down effect of Kyle going back there. I think the second part of that is twofold. It allows Marlon Humphrey to go inside because Marlon is an all-pro nickel. He struggled on the outside. As a nickel on the inside, he's as good as anybody in the league. And then really Nate Wiggins, their first-round pick from Clemson, has really played good football. And down there, when you talk to Roquan and ask him about Nate Wiggins, the first thing out of his mouth is Nate thinks he's the best corner in football. And you just imagine down there in Baltimore with that kind of defensive like swag and moxie and mindset. So Kyle going back there has been huge. Van Noy's been phenomenal for them. So I agree that defense is plenty capable of going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And when you get Marlon Humphrey on the inside, you also let him play more run support.
100%.
He's there to impact the run game a little bit. And I feel like that's a big difference too for that team. Because if you look at what happened, was it after the Bengals game? How many
gave up like 45 points.
Yeah, so
Jamar Chase had like 200 plus yards.
After that game, they've been one of the best defenses in football across the board.
Yep.
And it's as simple as just moving Kyle back and then the following adjustments that happened because of that wave. So on the offensive side of the ball, Zay Flowers, excuse me. I feel like Zay's injury that adds the one little like ding into the Ravens offense that could make me believe that Pittsburgh might be able to beat them. Like in a weird world, just because he's that much of an impact on offense. Do you think that he's going to play this weekend?
I hope he does, because I agree. It's a huge injury. Calling that game once Zay went down, and Cleveland's good defensively. Once Zay went down, the pass game wasn't nearly what it was with Zay on the field, naturally, right? And so I have no idea if he's going to play because, we haven't gotten a ton of information, at least to my knowledge, of kind of what the injury is. I know he's day to day, and so if he doesn't play, that really hampers their pass game just because he does so much for their pass game, both down the field and the intermediate routes and kind of winning one-on-one. I do think Bateman's good enough to kind of fill that void a little bit. I do believe that Tylan Wallace can step in and handle some of the role. Their tight ends are really good. It's interesting because the way to attack Pittsburgh defensively, Cleveland actually exposed this 6 or 7 weeks ago. Is you spread them out sideline to sideline and you try to minimize Queen and Cam Hayward and TJ a little bit because you don't want to play those guys in a small space. You want to play them sideline to sideline. So we'll see if he plays. If he doesn't, I do think the game's closer than I would have if he plays.
Yeah. What about the Texans and the Chargers? That game, I can't get to it with the Texans in the way they've looked offensively this year. Even when they had all their guys, it was never clean and I can't think of one game where I was like, man, the Texans looked awesome.
Yep.
Their defense is great, but are they going to get enough offense against a good Chargers defense? And what is the fix when you're watching the tape? You're like, if they could do this or this, they might have a little more success.
Yeah, the fix is going to be in 2025. There is no fix right now. And then two, I honestly believe the Chargers would be a team that I would sit here and go that's a dangerous team in the long run out of the AFC. I do think the AFC is that 3-team race in my gut.
Yep.
But I think so. Here's the thing for the Chargers before I touch on Houston. They don't have negative plays on offense. They're always moving the ball forward. They're so efficient and there's never 2nd and 12 or 3rd and 8. And so they control the game in that regard. Obviously the defense is phenomenal and their disguise is crazy. I'll go back to Houston, and I remember the first game of the year against Indy and watching it and going on TV the next day and being Houston better figure out their pass protection because CJ was running for his life. And it never got fixed this year. Their interior of their offensive line has been the weakest part of their football team all season long. Obviously, Nico missing time, but then Steph and Tank Dell not being there. I just don't see how this offensive line can hold up against the Chargers defensive line that's going to send crazy type of stunts and pick games and pressures against them. So I fully expect the Chargers to win that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they signed an impact free agent, Ezekiel Elliott. Who knows what that guy's going to be able to do?
Give him the ball.
Accomplish so
Shout
much.
out Jerry.
Yeah.
Shout out
Zeke the
Jerry.
ball this year.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that makes sense. If you go to Sunday now, obviously Jalen Hurts, whether or not he plays, he looks like he's probably going to play. I think Max reported he was going to play, and everything will be fine. The Eagles look right now like they are one of the most, I'd say maybe second best roster in the NFL, depending on how you look at the Chiefs. But they have a shitload of talent.
Yeah.
And going into this game, it feels like things have been clicking very well for the Eagles this season. The Packers, on the other hand, the injury concerns like Christian Watson, obviously, and then we don't know how healthy Love is. Should the Eagles be worried?
I don't think Philadelphia has to get worried if Jalen Hurts practices today. If Jalen Hurts practices today, I do think that Philly is – I agree. I think Philly's the most talented roster top to bottom in the NFL. I would say along with Baltimore. As long as he's there today and he's able to kind of sharpen over the next 3 days, I think Jalen's proven enough that he's one of those guys that can figure out a way to get plenty capable to go play good enough football. I do think the interesting, no Jair Alexander's a big deal. I thought Jair was one of those corners that could try to play AJ one-on-one. They don't have that guy anymore, so they're going to have to play a little bit more zone defense. Playing zone defense against Philly's offense is a problem just because obviously the run game. I think a huge key in the game is Edgerrin Cooper. He's a freaking problem at linebacker. He's athletic and slippery enough. So the best way to kind of hope if you're Green Bay defensively is that he has an all-world game, has a bunch of tackles for loss. But I think Philly's just so good. And without Watson trying to stretch them vertically, I don't think there's a ton of fear in Philadelphia's defense going against Green Bay's offense that feels a little bit sideline to sideline now without Watson.
Dudes, so speaking of quarterbacks, Jordan Love, I think he's good. I obviously hate the Packers. he does throw off his back foot a lot.
All the time.
What's said in practice? Is that something you're trying to coach out of him? Is that something you're saying like, God, dude, you got to stop doing this? Because there's sometimes they're incredible plays, but sometimes it looks like he's just doing it when he could easily plant and go forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's way more of an off-season thing than it is in season. You very rarely can you fix that. I think you can get it a little bit better. I'll never forget being around a coach that one time, kind of made the comment of, you never want to take a guy's stinger away. And I thought that was like an all-encompassing thing of like, you never want to take a quarterback, like a quarterback that's really aggressive, or he wants to push the ball, or he thinks he can make all these throws. Stafford was the guy that they were referencing, and we had coaches that were constantly trying, because Matthew used to do it too, and they were constantly trying to get Matthew to be this mechanically like flawless guy, Drew Brees type of player. And, it would frustrate Matthew to a point where Matthew would almost like, I don't want to say shell up, but it would make him be a lesser player, in my opinion. And I think you got to walk that fine line with Jordan. Like, yes, you want him to become mechanically as sound as possible, but I think that's a little bit more of one offseason, and two, as he gets older in his career. Right now, I still believe that he's such a physically talented guy that you really want him to, I'm not saying be sloppy, but you really want his kind of natural athletic instincts to be the focal point of his pass game.
We'll get back to Dan Orlovsky in a second. The playoffs are here, and every game counts. AWLs know that when it counts, you can count on Chevy Silverado. It's a dependable partner with strength, capability, and true grit. Whether you're looking for a spacious interior to comfortably get in the game, the functionality of the multi-flex tailgate to get the most out of tailgating, or the technology to make driving, towing, and parking all easier, Chevy Silverado has got your back. Did you know that Chevy is America's most awarded brand for new vehicle quality over the last 3 years, according to J.D. Power? Now is the perfect time to get into a Silverado or a Silverado HD, our favorite truck and the official truck of Part of My Take. Go to Chevy.com, check out all the great offers, and even build your own Silverado today. And visit jdpower.com/awards for more award details. And now here is Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does make sense. And when you're talking about Matthew Stafford, thinking about Jared Goff and what he's done in Detroit after Stafford went to L.A., that is the best example of a win-win trade of all time, I think. I don't think it could have worked out any better for either franchise. And I still think that the Lions are probably the team to beat in the NFC. What do you think? Would you put it like if you were to pick your winner out of the NFC right now? Are you going with the Eagles or the Lions?
I think I'm going with Detroit. My wife is going to be pissed off about that. I think them getting home field matters a ton. Angeloni,
I'm gonna text her right now, Dan.
Yeah, hopefully you don't.
We should tell that story real quick. We were supposed to have Dan on yesterday, and I wake up at like 7 a.m, and I have a text from a number I don't see, and it says, "Hey, it's Orlovsky. My phone broke. I'm texting you from my wife's number." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then we just texted on, like, I texted your wife's number for like 2 times, back and forth communicating. So I'll delete the number. Don't worry.
Yeah, thank God you didn't FaceTiming her.
She's an Eagles fan, isn't she?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell her. She's an Eagles fan, right?
She is a maniac, dude. Maniac.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to text her.
Yeah. I asked her the other day. I'm like, "Hey, Sunday Eagles play 4:30 in Philly. You want to go?" And she was like, "I'd rather wait and just go to Detroit when they go there." I'm like, "Okay, you're already booking it." So,
okay. So why Detroit?
I think that she thinks, why do I like Detroit? I getting healthy, Anzalone getting healthy matters a ton. I was so impressed with the way that they played on the defense side of the football. I think Detroit all comes down to, can they get like 2 takeaways a game? If they get 2 takeaways a game, and you could say that about everybody, but that's not really reality, because I think they're going to have to score 30 plus to beat anybody. And because the defense is still beat up. And so I'm banking on Detroit. I think they're as well coached as anybody. I think they understand, like, hey, we got to win 2 games. And, I do believe that they match up well versus Philadelphia, as long as one of those corners is going to have to play out of his head, kind of like he did the other night against Minnesota. Like Robertson, or if Carlton Davis comes back, or Terry and Arnold, like one of those cats versus AJ is going to have to play out of his head.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So with Tampa Bay, Washington, I'm obviously Commanders fan, so I'm going to be biased in how I perceive your answer, and I will put you on the enemies list if I don't think that you answer it fairly. in week 1, we saw the Commanders and the Bucs. And that was a very different team, I think probably for both teams, but especially for the Commanders. And Todd Bowles did his thing where he just blitzes the hell out of you. And he put Jaden under a lot of pressure. Jaden's grown a lot as a quarterback since then. Are we going to see more of that Todd Bowles signature, send pressure, force him to make quick decisions and see what happens from there? Are we going to see the Todd Bowles where he takes his foot off that gas and ends up playing deep coverage to take away the deep ball from Jaden?
I think that you'll get a little bit more of that softer, deep coverage protection. One, in that first game, Washington did not run as much no huddle as they have throughout the season. And that kind of mitigates trying to get to all those pressures. I think, too, you got to be worried about blitzing Daniels right now, because if you leave McLaurin one-on-one versus these corners, in my opinion, advantage Washington. I don't think Tampa Bay can run with McLaurin on the outside. And 2, kind of what happened in week 1, if you don't get home, he's gone. He's going to get 80 to 100 on you. And so I don't love the matchup for Tampa Bay. Honestly, I think they play way too soft on the outside. I think Jaden's going to have opportunity to create a ton of easy completions. I would be very aggressive down the field with McLaurin if I were them. I don't think either of these corners can cover him on a consistent basis. So I don't think that Todd comes after him that much early on, and they try to just see if they can play really, really good red zone defense.
Okay. Yeah, I like that, and I agree with you because I've been watching the tape, Dan. So I'm thinking, and what you saw in week 1 was Jaden, when he did get pressured, since it was all, the game speed was new to him, his first NFL game, he would either try to take off, or there were times when he would try to just drop back in the pocket a little bit because he didn't have that he didn't have the confidence necessarily to just go forward, step up in the pocket and take off. So he tried to escape the pressure by backpedaling. Boom, he gets hit. They got a couple sacks that way. Yeah. I feel like this is a very different team. And then on the defensive side of the ball for the Commanders, I love, if he plays, I love the Marshawn Lattimore matchup against Mike Evans. Historically, that's been a very good matchup for Lattimore.
Yeah. Lattimore's had the opportunity to have some success against it. I know people keep saying that, but I don't know. The one time we saw Lattimore was versus AJ, and AJ had his way versus both in success and penalties. So I know he's fresh off the injury. We'll see how healthy he is. I don't feel the same way about that Marshawn Lattimore kind of performance as it did 3 or 4 or 5 years ago in New Orleans. So I think this game's high scoring. I really do. I think this game could sniff both teams getting close to 30. I think Washington's going to struggle to stop Bucky Irving and Rachaad White, I think that this is the game where both defenses are reeling a little bit versus offenses that are hot, man.
Yeah, I actually think in a weird way that this matchup, it's a good matchup for both teams.
It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
How do you?
I think the Bucs are going to be able to run the ball.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah. And that's going to open up a lot. I think Bucky Irving's going to have a big day.
He's so good.
He's so good. He's so good. And that's been the difference, coming down the stretch. He became just a real dude.
Yeah, it reminds me of Brian Westbrook years ago for the Eagles. It's he's big enough where he can make any kind of run, but then when he gets the ball in space, it's he's shifty but low to the ground and strong and tough. He's a really big-time player.
All right, so Monday Night Football will be on ESPN, so we'll see our friends Joe and Troy. Sam Darnold, I saw the clip. You said you thought he missed 5 touchdown passes on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Is this the Lions had an incredible game plan. They did something that the Vikings weren't expecting. That's an anomaly. That's one game. Or is this, this is a big problem, and Sam Darnold, as great as he's been this year, you have a little bit of doubt going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more of a tip of the hat to Detroit. I really thought Detroit's game plan was awesome. That doesn't mean that Sam didn't miss those throws, but I do think, just from a quarterback's perspective, when you get some of those defenses that you don't, 1, expect, or 2, necessarily have clarity of what you're looking at, you can start to kind of chase stuff. And whether it's getting your eyes off the guy too soon, or, you're anticipating one thing and then it's another thing. So what you might be anticipating and doing something with your eyes to try to move a guy isn't exactly that. And so you're quote unquote doing the wrong thing. So I think it's a little bit more of a tip of the hat to Detroit. I'm not overly concerned about it. The thing that I'm honestly more concerned about in the game when it comes to this matchup, Minnesota offense and the Rams defensive line is awesome. And part of the reason that I think Sam played that way, and I thought the Lions defensive line kicked the crap out of the Vikings offensive line. And so, with a young, violent, physical, nasty defensive line with the Rams with Verse and Fisk and Turner, like that's a little bit more has my attention rather than do I think Sam Darnold's going to play poorly again. So I fully expect Sam to bounce back. It's a different defensive structure, way more zone than man than obviously Detroit runs. So I think he plays a lot better, but I'll have my eyes more on their offensive line.
I got a question about this game as well. Can you explain just how good Puka Nacua is and how does he get open all the time? And I know that you can't like just leave, Cooper Kupp is a worry, but Puka it just feels like every time they need a big pass, he's there and he's open. What the hell do you do if you're a defense?
Yeah, he reminds me so much of TJ Houshmandzadeh. You remember TJ back in the day with Chad? Like we would be playing against them, and you would obviously have your attention to Chad, rightfully so, but TJ would just get open all the time, and you would be like, what the fudge route was that? That's not even a route, dude. And he just has this great ability to understand. Like, I do think he's crazy strong. He has this really good understanding of how to use his body and his strength to lean into guys to get him to kind of be where he wants you to be. And then he has a really good feel for space. I think he's crazy smart. Like, if you ever watch him, I remember last year when he was starting to break out, I thought one of the things he did as good as anybody in the league was he gets to the top of his routes, he's always starting to peek to where the defense is and gauging, okay, where is the corner? Where's the safety? Where's the backer? So he kind of knows how to get out of the cut. And is he going full speed? Is he going slow? Is he going deep? Is he going high? And so he's got a great kind of feel for that stuff. I also think, I've talked about this a little bit this year, the Rams do and Sean do with him better than anybody, double motions, where they motion twice before the ball gets snapped. They'll set the formation and they'll motion him over and he'll get set and then they'll motion him again. And so, they did a really good job of kind of creating some leverage for him or getting him into some soft spots, and he takes advantage of it. And Stafford and him have gotten just countless reps together. So he's a problem. He's a problem to stop.
It's just crazy to watch.
It is. He's so fun to watch, especially without the ball too.
Yeah,
I just love it. They should do it all 22, except it's all one, and it's just
follow him. I like that. Where's Waldo of Puka?
Yeah.
So what about the Rams offense though? Because since that Bills game, the Rams offense hasn't looked great.
Yeah.
Are you concerned at all with your boy?
I am. He hasn't played well in the last 3 or 4 weeks. He had that unbelievable game, specifically on third down, where he was just off the charts. And so, since then, I think that they fought a little bit of an offensive identity as well. Sometimes I'm like, I love their keeper game where they bootleg him, and I love their play action game. And then sometimes it's like, well, how come you're not running it? And then I live in the world of I love when they stack Puka and Cooper on the same side, but then I'm like, well, you're getting a little bit too predictable with that. And so I think that they fought a little bit of exactly who they want to be. I also know that there's such a good run game, that it's a challenge and it's a battle of hey, it's almost like Baltimore as well. We're really good running the football and we want to run the football, but we don't want to become so obvious and predictable where teams just they get paid as well defensively. So they just tee off on us. And so I think they've battled that a little bit. I don't believe that Matthew's thrown the ball incredibly well over the last 3 weeks. So I think if you were going to ask me the one thing that has to happen in that game for the Rams to win, I really believe Matthew's going to have to throw the ball better than he has the last 3 weeks. I feel differently than when they went on their Super Bowl run. When they went on that Super Bowl run, I remember the last 3-4 weeks of the season, I was like, they're going to win it. He's just playing too well or too good. I kind of feel the opposite where I'm like, he's got to be the person that plays better for them to win.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Big Cat and I were big fans, at least at times, on the Simpsons broadcast. I love the Simpsons. Huge fan. Grew up watching it. The only thing that we had, I think we were saying that the play was too far behind.
Yeah.
On the broadcast.
Game?
The live game was, and I know that they do that because it's like a whole animated thing, but that must have been a lot of fun to participate in on your part. What was your prep like for the Simpsons game?
Yeah, it was cool. Football prep wise, it wasn't nearly what it is, when you're calling an actual game, just because we knew, one, the game didn't really have any playoff implications or, kind of, the results of it mattering a ton. So we leaned into a little bit more of the let's live in the moment and the animation of it and the Simpsons part of it. So football-wise, not a ton. Simpsons-wise, a lot. The writers helped us out a lot. They gave us a ton of kind of notes just to refresh our memories, because I'm a 90s kid, so I grew up in many ways watching The Simpsons. I have a son who's autistic, so anything that has to do with animation is like his superpower wheelhouse. Part of it is because he thinks that they're actually real, no matter if it's a still shot, an animation. So, when he found out, he was the most into it person on the planet. And so he was constantly drawing. He wanted to watch it a ton. So we started allowing him to watch it a little bit. And so I would watch it with him, just trying to refresh my memory with some of the episodes. And so the writers were great. Catching up on a ton of episodes, kind of trying to make sure that I was up to date with some of the jokes, some of the one-liners, some of the kind of the personalities of it. It was cool. It was really cool to be a part of. The technology is nuts.
Did they have any prep with you on what they would do if there was like a fight on the field? Or if like somebody got injured?
No.
And it's like Ralph Wiggum that's laying out there.
Yeah, no, they didn't. I think that they were prepared. They had so many elements built in, some of like the cutaways of Mo and, obviously the jokes and whatnot. They had so many elements built in that my thought that they would go to that. The only thing that they really had us kind of pay attention to in that regard was when they brought somebody in the game, we more often knew, hey, that person's going to impact this play somehow. So,
right,
if Lisa comes in at running back, it's like, well, I would give the ball to Lisa here. So, that was the only thing that they kind of hinted to us.
It's embarrassing. It took me like 2 quarters to pick up on that.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, Ralph Wiggum's operating out of the slot right now.
Touchdown. It's like, we knew he was out there. So.
All right, Dan, I got one last question for you. By the way, also congrats on one of the best clips ever with Shannon Sharp the other day.
Yes.
You had that locked and loaded. For people who missed it.
Did you see how kind of like that came out, or how it came to be on Pat's show when I hit up Hembo? I was like, during the commercial break of Get Up, I was like, I wonder if, and I texted Hembo, who's the stats guy, and he's so good at ESPN. Has this ever happened? He just texted back 1992, Sterling Sharp. And when Shannon started talking, I was like, there's no fudging way that you're going here right now. So
yeah. So for people who missed it, Shannon was like, when was the last time a guy won the Triple Crown and didn't make the playoffs? And Dan was just like, your brother, 1992. And he was like, it completely got him. It was just a great moment.
Yeah. It was,
great moment.
There's been, the internet, when it's not on your side, it sucks. But when it's on your side, it's awesome. And so the internet had a field day with that one in a good way for me.
Yeah, it was very funny.
The look on your face afterwards is priceless.
I'm such a prick, dude.
Yeah, you got him.
No, but you nailed it.
Yeah.
And you got to take a victory lap sometimes.
Yeah, because I have plenty of moments when the opposite happens. So.
Yeah. All right. So my last question, Roback question, RHOBACK.com, promo code TAKE, 20% off your first purchase. Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts, Roback.com, promo code TAKE. I want to do, so I won't make you pick against the spread, but can you give us what you think is going to be your winner for all 6 games? Wild card weekend, and then give us your Super Bowl.
Yep. So I think game 1 is Houston Chargers, I believe. I'm taking the Chargers in that game. I think game 2 is going to be Baltimore. Whether Zay Flowers plays or not, I feel confident saying Baltimore wins that game. I don't think Pittsburgh's offense is good enough. The third game is Tampa Bay and Washington. I'm going to take Washington. I think Jaden Daniels sniffs 80% completion in that game.
Here we go.
I just don't think Tampa Bay's defense is good enough on the perimeter to hold up with them.
Good pick, Dan.
Thank you. Game number 4, Philly, Green Bay. I think the Watson injury is huge for their offense. I think Philadelphia comes out. The only thing that gives me reservation is the one thing that Philly's done a lot of times this year, a little bit less in the second half of the season, is start slow. Jalen not practicing for a long time. If they start slow, it does give me, if I was Green Bay, I would just bombs away early on in that game, see if I could grab a lead and control the game. But I am taking Philly. And then in Monday Night Football, fudge, dude. I'm going to go. This is the toughest one for me. I'm going to go Minnesota on the road. I don't think that Sam Darnold plays 2 bad games in a row. Great game, but I'll go Minnesota on the road. And then I think the NFC title game is Detroit, Philly. I think the AFC title game is Kansas City, Baltimore. And I'm going to pick Kansas City and Detroit in the Super Bowl, and I'm going to say Kansas City does it.
That'll be one of those maps where, like, what is the country rooting for? And it's just one circle in the middle for Kansas City.
Are you picking Kansas City because you're just afraid of not picking Kansas City? Or do you actually believe that they're good enough?
I'm afraid of not picking Mahomes. No, I don't really like. You've done this long enough where you realize people hate you no matter what type of stuff. So like
facts.
I think that's a different group when it's win or go home. I really do, and I do think that they're a better team this year than they were last year. And so I just think for some reason 15 finds a way, man, and they're plenty good enough. It's not like he's dragging a team to the Super Bowl. They're a really good team.
And they got healthy in the secondary, which is going to be huge.
Healthy in the secondary, for sure. Watson coming back is huge.
Bills, Broncos, did we do that one?
Bills, Broncos, I did not do. I'm taking the Bills, although, again, that game has my attention.
Okay.
And then, obviously, the Ravens over the Bills.
Yeah, I think the Ravens over the Bills. Dude, there's something about Baltimore. After I've been around both teams this year, obviously, I think they're both really good. There's something about Baltimore where Todd Monken, their play caller, said to me, as long as we stay ahead of the schedule, we're unstoppable. Like, that's their philosophy. And I just think that they're in a unique place where, like, they can line up and say, hey, here it comes. Stop it.
Yep. They run it down their throat. That's what happened in the first time they played this season.
Yep.
All right. Well, Dan, thank you as always, man. We love having you on. Love talking ball. We appreciate it. And I'm happy you got your phone back.
Thanks, boys. Always good to be with you guys. Enjoy the weekend.
Dan Orlovsky was brought to you by Amazon Prime. Prime exclusive wild card game this Saturday. It's TJ Watt and the Steelers taking on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Join Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung for this AFC North playoff showdown that you don't want to miss. The Steelers and the Ravens, this is going to be a great game at night. Good matchup. Can't wait to watch it. These two teams, they're going to play each other tough. I don't know what's going to happen, but you know that the Steelers, this is a Tomlin game. Mm-hmm. He's a little bit disrespected right now. Everyone in the world is picking the Ravens. Are they 10-point favorites?
They are 9.5-point favorites.
I'm taking the Steelers. I don't know if they're going to win, but that's a lot of points for this matchup. Not a Prime member, not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial, and you can cancel at any time. Watch the Steelers and Ravens at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Prime's exclusive wildcard game, powered by Verizon, and it's only on Prime Video. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details. It's Amazon Prime. Watch this game. You're going to watch this game. It's going to be incredible. Football, Super Wildcard Weekend. Dan Orlovsky was also brought to you by Experian. For all the AWLs who really know us, you know how responsible we are with our money. The secret reason we have so much to gamble with is because Experian helps us save money across other purchases. League rights are getting out of hand, and we have to subscribe to way too many streaming services so that we could watch every single key game, and that's where Experian comes in. They're going to find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions for you, so you don't have to worry about paying for services that you forgot about. You can also have Experian negotiate your bills like cable, internet, cell phone, and you keep all the savings. All around, Experian does the work so you can save money. It's a one-stop shop for your financial health. Download the app today. Results will vary. Savings are not guaranteed. Some may not see any savings. Not all bills or subscriptions are eligible for negotiation or cancellation, and eligible paid membership is required. Download the Experian app and see how much you could save today.
Okay, Fyre Fest of the week. Henry, you're up.
Couple Fyre Fest. Brandon Walker cucked me out of my chair. I like.
You have a cuck chair?
The Vanny Woodhead chair. No, I had the Vanny Woodhead chair in here, but I got outvoted, so I'm back to the couch.
We should actually have Brandon sit in that chair and watch.
And then I posted a jumpsuit picture from my condo, and people just, it's the internet, but they were just roasting my interior design.
Oh no!
Said it looked like I lived in a timeshare in Florida.
Oh no!
Old woman's home. Why are the Christmas trees up? I like the Christmas tree aesthetic.
Yep.
I'm keeping them up till after the Super Bowl.
Yep.
That's when winter ends for me.
Like
I don't care. People get mad. I'll take them down after Christmas.
Yep.
Super Bowl is the end of winter as far as I'm concerned. That's the end of our season. go on a golf trip the week after Super Bowl, and then when we come back, that's the sign of spring to me, and that's when I will take down my Christmas tree. I'll probably keep posting my Christmas tree just to piss people off, but it's winter. It's still winter. It's Christmas tree season.
Yep, I agree. I love keeping the Christmas tree up.
So people are saying you got to take your Christmas tree down?
People are saying I got to take my Christmas tree down. They said, which I guess I was reading like, oh, it looks like you have a timeshare home. Looks like a vacation home in Florida. That's the vibe I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to live where it's vacation all the time?
Yeah.
You have a minimalistic vibe going in your place.
Get some Jimmy Buffett stuff
you know,
up there.
You know what? You don't need.
But it's one of those things, and I get in my head because it's just people, and I shouldn't because it's random people on the internet that I shouldn't let it bother me, but it kind of did. But it's like, why? And you realize, you can't, anything you post, people are going to get mad about. Anything you say, people are going to get mad about. But I love where I live. I like the vibe I have. But now then I start second guessing myself.
Yeah. So the Christmas tree stays up.
Christmas tree stays up.
You don't need to decorate your house. You have the water.
Right.
With the water, that covers all the interior design.
Yes.
You don't want to try to take away from the water.
No.
The water is what is it? Zen?
Yeah.
Zen.
Yeah.
Yeah, peace, tranquility.
If Marie Kondo went up to your apartment, would she say throw away the water? Throw away Lake Michigan?
No.
No, she wouldn't.
And the trees bring me joy, so I'm going to keep them up.
Love it.
I like it, Hank. Yeah.
Do you.
Yeah.
Do you.
Fuck them.
Absolutely.
Right.
Fuck them. Fuck the haters.
PFT, your Fyre Fest?
My Fyre Fest of
I'm
the
also
week.
out of jumpsuits.
Oh,
okay.
I am too, so can we mix in some non-jumpsuits here and there?
If you're comfortable doing
I don't
that.
know. I've started posting these videos every day. Now I'm like, I don't know how to stop.
What if
but-
people just send us more jumpsuits?
Yeah,
Well, that'd be cool.
that would be cool.
I got more
just-
jumpsuits.
Well, it's Jamie January, but yeah.
It's called a one piece.
You looked like the Easter bunny the other
Jammy
day.
January.
I was the coziest boy on
You
earth.
looked so cozy.
I love
I was
Jammy
really
January.
cozy. So the Fyre Fest was wearing the cozy jumpsuits, which I got a lot of feedback on.
Positive or negative?
Much of it positive. Some was negative.
I thought you looked cute.
I did look cute. Like I said, I was so cozy. The problem with wearing such a cozy jumpsuit / pajamas is that everybody comes up to you and touches you. Like I got touched by so many dudes.
Oh,
at
yeah,
Barstool
you can't
Sports
have that.
Last week, I think it was Jersey Jerry sat down next to me on the couch. He was just like, squeeze, gave me an arm a squeeze. I was
Yeah.
like, oh hey, what's up, Jerry? Didn't see you there. But yeah, I still have some jumpsuits, but my Fyre Fest is that none of them are as cozy as the ones I was wearing this week, which were all one pieces. And also, Hank got me sick.
Yeah, PFT feels sick.
Yeah, now I feel sick.
It's my bad.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
It's okay.
You know what?
Do you know getting a flu shot? By the way, New Year's resolution, got a physical, so we're halfway down. Also got a flu shot. Didn't know that getting a flu shot makes you sicker.
Well, no, you get a little bit of the flu.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That was like
Yeah.
I was like, I got a flu shot. I feel like shit. They're like, yeah, that's the point. They
Yeah.
inject you with the flu.
So
Yeah.
you were already sick with the flu, then you went to the doctor and you're like, hey, can I have a flu shot to take
Little
my
late
flu
to
away?
do
No,
that.
I was getting my physical, and I had to get a prescription refilled. And they're like, "Do you want a flu shot?" And it's like, how do you say no to that?
Yeah, they just hand them out.
Yeah.
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 So I said yes, and then I got sicker afterwards.
Yeah, we've done a pretty good job. Me and Big Cat have done, I should rephrase that. You and I, Big Cat, have done a very good job of not getting too sick on show
Don't
days.
say this now.
Don't say
Don't say
this.
this now.
Because I had that one day when Heisman Saturday.
Yeah.
I could not hold anything down. I was puking like 15 times. It happened on a Saturday. I was able to get back on a Sunday, and I felt like shit, but we show up, do your job.
There have been so many times where Thursday night I drive home and I'm like, oh, I feel sick. My body just knows.
Yeah.
You're off the clock for a day and a half.
Yeah.
It's okay to get sick now, but yeah, Hank got me sick this week.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay, Hank. I'll fight through it.
Okay. All right. My Fyre Fest. I got a big one. People who have probably watched Surviving Barstool, it has not been a fun week for me, but there's one thing I want to kind of address because I've obviously seen it in the comments section. I owe it to the AWLs. So I think a lot of people knew this, but I'm just going to say it. Let's just fucking do it because I don't know why I've been living in shame. Like, I don't know why I'm ashamed of this, but yeah, I was born and raised in Newton, Massachusetts. So growing up, I have family in Chicago. I would come here once a year. Michael Jordan was my favorite athlete. I kind of rooted for both. I did root for the Patriots. I moved away in 2003 for high school or for college. Never moved back.
Long time ago.
Wasn't like a diehard Patriots fan, but I rooted for them. I moved to Chicago right after college. And I love the city of Chicago. I loved it when I was a kid, when I would come visit. And my uncle would take me to games and stuff. I loved it. I always loved it. So it's kind of like this is the city that, it's the other city. Like my uncle was loose. I think he might have lied to me when I was a kid, like loosely friends with Phil Jackson.
That's such an uncle move.
Yeah, and I was just like, that fucking awesome, dude. Because they used to practice right by where they live. So I always loved the city of Chicago. Kind of just moved out in 2003. Have not lived in Massachusetts since then. Still, rooted for the Patriots a little bit. I never was really hockey. And then I when I moved to Chicago, I started falling in love with, the city of Chicago and the teams and everything. And so it was a slow, gradual thing where I started writing about it. Dave hired me, and I remember asking him right away. I was like, should I just say this? And he was like, nah, just do your job, just blog. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'll let you finish. There is context, I think, and this is so long ago, like when I started, the 2012, 2013 Barstool was writing city-based. There was a Chicago person that was the Chicago writer before you. He was not from Chicago, and the fans basically ran him out of town.
That's right. I forgot about that part.
And we have other writers there was a writer from Philly who was from Philly. All he did was live in Brooklyn, and people found out he lived in Brooklyn. They kind of ran him out of town.
That's
so
Philly.
There was definitely, and like you said, you asked Dave about it, and I think there was definitely you want people to identify with you and Chicago.
Right. And I was ashamed that I'm so stupid.
The writers. We had, K. Marco, is from... I always thought he was from New York because he wrote for Barstool New York, and then I found out he wasn't from New York, and I was like, wait, what? Because that was how it was not supposed to come across. You're not lying, but there is a lot of context with that I think people have never understood, especially with the Mo and the Neil, all that stuff. There was a lot of that where it's that was a big thing back in the day.
But I don't know why for so long I've let it bother me and been ashamed of it. It's such a stupid, trivial thing when it comes to I'm sure there'll be some people who are like, fuck this. I hate them. I'm not listening to PMT anymore. Fuck Big Cat. I get it. I would say to you, yes, I used to, root. I have a complicated, Chicago teams were always kind of my second teams. I rooted for the Patriots. I moved away in 2003. So basically all the winning happened after I moved. I'm probably a curse.
I was going to say, would you say that would be a good choice to make if you were just trying
to I wish I didn't make that choice. I wish I had just been but I fell in love with the city of Chicago and the teams. And this is why I moved back here. This is why I'm raising my kids here. I just, and my fandom of the Chicago teams is genuine. I've been doing this for 14, 15 years now.
You think someone would subject
14,
themselves
13 years, 13, 14
to the Bears over the course of the last 15 years?
So if people
they didn't care about the Bears?
Yeah, I mean, well, my other Fyre Fest is I did get my tattoo. Thanks, Tyreek Stevenson. Finally got my tattoo, paid that bet. So thanks a lot for not paying attention. But so I listen, I've been I think I've talked about it on the show. I started seeing a therapist a few months ago. That's not because of this. That was because of the pressure of having an office where everyone gives you their problems, and I never give anyone my problems. I never tell anyone my problems. But I it's something that I shouldn't be ashamed of. It's something I should just embrace. I had a great childhood. I don't know why. I just, it's part of the context Hank said. It's part of I just don't want people to hate me. And that's another fucked up. I actually have talked to my therapist about this, being a people pleaser. You can't do that. But I should just stop. Stop being ashamed. That's the story.
Rip the Band-Aid.
Rip the Band-Aid. My teams are the teams for the rest of my life now. And I don't know, I actually, my uncle, I was looking at it because I was just last night I was just kind of, wasn't feeling great, wasn't feeling awesome. So my uncle passed away in 2018, kind of tragically. It was cancer very quickly. I looked it up because I was just going through kind of memory lane. It was actually 2019. And my last text to him is the Bears are the Bears again, an unbelievable defense and a maddening quarterback. Time is a flat circle. I'm starting to think Trubisky will never be the guy, which is so damn frustrating. So like it was just funny. I was laughing about that because I was like, shit. Like, but he was part of why I always would, have a second team. Like, oh yeah, Jordan and everything. So
which everyone when they're growing up, like I was born in LA. I moved when I was 3, but like when I was growing up, I was like, oh, I was born in LA. Like, the Dodgers are my second team. Like that's just like a thing.
And I still rooted for the Patriots when they were, like when I was like 18, 19, 20, a little bit out of college. But then I slowly was like, I'm going to be a Bear. Like I want to be in Chicago. This is the city I want to be in for the rest of my life. I love this city to death. And I want to rep this city. So yeah, that's it. And then also the weirdest thing, I get this all the time. I was in a couple plays in high school. I did play sports growing up. I just sucked after. So when I was 13 years old, I tore every ligament and tendon in my ankle playing basketball, travel basketball, like whatever the AAU equivalent is. And I was never good at anything after that. Like I just sucked. I mean, I think people understand I did play like Little League soccer, basketball, all that stuff. When you see me playing sports when we do competitions, I don't look like a guy who never played a sport.
Also, wait, I don't think that being in a play is anything to be ashamed of.
No, I mean, listen, if we're being totally honest, I was a way to try to get chicks. Okay, I like didn't work that well. Wasn't really fucking a lot in high school.
Guy in theater.
Yeah,
I was a theater guy.
Yeah, I mean, but people will pick it, and my problem is I never just said it, so then I let it bother me, and I'm done letting it bother me. I have a fucking awesome life. This show is the best thing in the world. I love it so much. Someone asked me the other day, PFD, on Twitter, they're like, how long are you do this show? I was like, dude, I'll do this show for as long as people will listen. Like I truly mean that. And I know that it sounds corny and shit, but like I will do this show with these people till we're 60, 70, if everyone wants to do it, because I love it that much. And letting something like this bother me, just it affects other parts of my life that I shouldn't let it affect. It makes me not as good of a coworker, boss, father, husband, all that shit. So I'm done with it. So that's it. And if people are gonna hate me, I can't do anything about it.
I don't think anybody's gonna hate you.
No, I know, but
I think that the and obviously it's like it's something that has been like in the back of your mind for a while. But I think the fear, your fear of the percentage of people that are going to be like, fuck Big Cat, I'm not listening to the show, is like minuscule.
I know.
It's 0.001%. And it's like those type of people like listening to the show, who gives a fuck? Like,
that fear, consumes me.
But that's also not, no one's listening is going to be like slamming their fist against their steering wheel, being like, ah.
And I appreciate everyone who's had my back, everyone in this room, everyone in the booth.
You told me
also
fans
talked
online.
about it.
I have talked about it before, but I've never said that. Like, I used to root for, I used to have a kind of a complicated, I root for both teams kind of thing, and not like I wasn't a full, Bears fan when I was 8, 9 years old, and then I, was like, you know what, I'm gonna be a Bears fan. I'm staying the rest of my life in Chicago. Obviously, we went to New York for 7 years, but we came back, and my kids are gonna be here. They're gonna be raised in Chicago, which I'm happy about. So. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, there's multiple times I've said it, but just say it. I should have just said it. I should have just said it 10 years ago.
You told me in 2016 when we first started the show,
yeah,
and after having been around you for 8 years and seen you probably more than anybody else, I can fully say that you are a diehard Chicago sports fan.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it wasn't a big deal. It's like, okay, yeah, a lot of us were born in different... Hand up, I used to root for Duke basketball when I was a kid. Hank knows that. Until I read Coach K's book.
I did root for the Braves.
This guy's a dork.
I did root for the Braves a little bit. Terry Pendleton, shout out.
Yeah,
fat ass.
So did I, but that's just because
they were on everywhere.
They were on
and
everywhere.
I rooted for the Cubs because I was
going to run with that.
he is. I was on the Cubs Little League team, and then I could watch Cubs games too. So I would watch Cubs games and Braves games. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, TBS, watching Braves every day in the summertime. WGN watching Chicago. I didn't have a baseball team.
Yeah.
Closest with the Baltimore Orioles, which I kind of like. But yeah, listen, people change a little bit as they grow older.
I know. It's just I'm in my own head. You guys know me well enough that probably one of the faults I have is I do care, like, not to sound like Michael Scott, I care too much, but I do. I do a little bit, where it's like Hank tells me all the time. He's like, dude, like, Hank will text me, be like, dude, you have an awesome life. You have a beautiful family. You make an incredible living. Like, why do you care? And it's like, I don't know.
Fuck 'em.
I just still care because I want people to like the show that we do. And I've always been like, oh, fuck, they're going to stop liking me.
People, I mean, you're not that good of an actor. Like,
No.
like you watch what you do after a Bears loss. It's not.
Yeah.
Who could possibly think that you're faking?
Right,
that you're faking
right. I put
that?
my emotions and everything into it, and it's like and I get triggered when you guys say, we should get Mike McCarthy as like that's real. I wish it wasn't, and yeah, I probably should have just stuck with Boston teams. My life would have been a lot better. But yeah, I don't know. We just had to say it, and then
That also wouldn't have. That's where it's like the context of the old, like that's where it's like that just wouldn't. It's not a thing.
Yeah, no, I know, but I feel good that I'm even saying it right now. So that's it. I just hope that people still like me.
They will. They will.
I got
You're
a
good.
tattoo, Tyreek Stevenson. Also, just I was never obviously a credible athlete. I don't think anyone in this room. Actually, Hank peaked when he was. Well, Max
I was an
too.
incredible
Max was
athlete.
incredible.
Max was
athlete.
I was
incredible.
incredible.
13-year-old
my
in the league,
worst-
guys.
Memes was an All-American.
14 home runs, green bush.
That's a good point. Memes all American.
My baseball highlight was when I was 11 in the City Series. I pitched. I was the third pitcher on our team, and they started the game with me. And our first pitcher only had 3 innings that they could pitch, and I pitched 1 hit shutout 3 innings, and my coach pulled me for the number 1 pitcher, and we lost. And I've never lived that one down. I've been so upset ever since. I had unlimited innings.
They
I was
should have kept you
I was
in.
the third ace,
You
not
would
an
have taken
ace.
State.
Yeah, third ace.
It's also got to be said that the two biggest podcasters, Joe Rogan, Big Cat,
Yeah,
same time.
yeah. That's true. Although, he doesn't really talk
I
about
didn't
it
know that.
much. I don't know if he talks about it
John
much.
Krasinski.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
How old is Joe?
He's much older than me.
Okay.
10 years older.
But it is
Yeah, that is
it's a
funny. I
crazy-
didn't
crazy
even
fun fact.
connect that. But yeah, all right. That was my Fyre Fest. And yeah, I got a tattoo. So I finally paid my bet. It's a Grateful Dead lightning bolt. I think I'm already ready for another one, PFT.
Yeah, we're kind of low key addicted to getting tats.
Commanders and Bears. I hope part of hoping that we do this show forever is that we get 25 years down the line and we both have full sleeves, and it's just like, all right, that was 28.
Yep.
That was 20.
That's how they used to write down history, like way back in medieval times. Is like a giant tapestry. Our
Yeah.
bodies are going to be tapestries of losing important battles.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so that'll be nice to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone to all the fans. I really do love all of you, and everyone who's had my back. Should we finish with numbers?
40.
5.
11.
Means you
comes
want
Pug.
3?
8. 8's gonna hit.
I'll do 3.
Do people in Newton not have accents?
My parents are not from Boston,
That's what.
so that's why I've never had an accent.
Okay.
my parents
they're-
are both from Massachusetts. It's always everyone I know that has accents because their parents have accents.
Yeah, my
But
parents,
my parents,
are from.
even being from Massachusetts, didn't really have an accent, so I didn't.
Yeah, so neither of my parents are from Boston.
But when I
Yeah.
did the Dixie tour, was down south, I would lay it on thick.
The
Oh, yeah,
Boston?
I'm from Massachusetts, from Boston.
From Boston.
Can I help you with the ladies?
No,
Pug, what was your number?
not at all.
Yeah, you thought you were coming in there like speaking
But it was
Australian?
something, yeah. It was like a little something.
A little exotic.
Needed anything.
Can I take
Yeah.
99?
96.
Whoa.
Close, Pug. Close.
Love you guys.